Destroyed idiots are meant to last. Come live with us down here in the underpass. Come live with us down destroyed idiots here in the underpass.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Super Summer Slayem EU 1v1 tournament. We are back with the top 8 from yesterday. The qualifiers all facing off in the finals to find out who is going to be taking home the grand prize, of course. I'm YouGotFrone, and with me today is Stevenator. How are you doing this morning?
Doing good. My alarm failed me for the second time in a row. So I guess European tournaments just break my alarm. It's okay, though. Managed to get myself up with all of my huge excitement for this top 8, which is, it sounds like I'm being pretentious, but I'm actually very excited for a lot of the matches that we had today, because the matches that led into top 8 yesterday were all super interesting, and now we've boiled it down to the 8 best from all of the matches yesterday, which were already top 8 quality matches.
Yeah, if there's any lack of excitement coming from us, it's because we've probably woken up just recently, and it's a summer weekend. What else do you want to do? I mean, you sleep in. That's exactly the point. Anyway, we got some good games up, but looking at the brackets real quick, we're going to go over who has qualified from yesterday, just in case you weren't able to catch all the games or you weren't able to catch the very end. So starting off on the winner's side, we have Machete and Adi Mestic on the top, followed by Tito and Heissen. And those are going to be the winners' semi-finalists. Looking at the lower bracket, that's going to be Blue and Simple versus 2D and Ishet. And they are going to be fighting for their tournament lives down in the bottom side of that bracket. But looking at the top side, to start things off, would you want to talk about any of these players to give any of your thoughts about how they might do, who might end up in the winners' finals?
I mean, I have to say that, out of all the performances yesterday, I was most impressed by Addy's Petra and Tito, just in general. He played mostly Lin Fei, but he showed that he can kind of bring out any Canon legend. I think he started off the day on Zol, and even though it didn't work for him, it's not like his Zol looked bad or anything. I fully expect him to play Lin Fei, but, the way that he's been playing Lin Fei hasn't been in the typical, boring style, which, I mean, whenever you have a meta character, there are going to be players who play the character to their fullest extent, and you're going to have people who are just hopping on the train. And I really truly feel like Tito is a canon player who just happened to land on the meta right now. And I love to see that, because he's pushing, it feels like, the weapons to their limits. And he was just taking names out of top players yesterday, and without even breaking a sweat. It was actually ridiculous.
And that's, I think, what we're going to be seeing a little bit of in the coming tournaments after these most recent changes from the last patch, buffing up Cannon and
I don't think Cannon got buffed
in a pretty interesting way. But looking down at the lower side of the bracket, this is where we're going to actually start today. We have 2D and Ishet starting things off. What do you want to talk about with either one of these players?
2D had a rough start yesterday, to say the very least. He had some very tough, the first 3 games that 2D played in, he got absolutely destroyed. He actually looked like a pools player. And then something just turned on in his brain to where he started to remember. He's like, oh wait, I'm 1 game away from being knocked out, so let me just play well now. And then
he just kind of turned on.
He literally just started playing like a completely different player. And Ishet played well throughout the entire day. He was playing mostly Olgrim, which is why I'm surprised to see him lock in the Zol. I guess he felt like after all the Cannon he saw yesterday, he wanted to try it out for himself. So this could either go great for him, or he could look like he's never played the character before. So it's hard to tell.
Well, Cannon, it seems like it's kind of FOTT, flavor of the tournament. So
yeah,
we saw Ishet, we also saw Blue switch to Cannon, and Blue actually started seeing a lot more success when he switched to Lin Fei. But here we go, Ishet versus 2D. First game of the top 8. It's starting right now. Ishet on Zol and 2D on Koji.
All right, already opening up with a sideline into Sayer. Classic Cannon bread and butter. Ishet starting to land some nairs. 2D now hitting the ground himself. Able to land a few quick sidelights and Sayers of his own. 2D definitely rocking the bow. I really like what I saw from his bow yesterday, even though that's not what he ended up making top 8 with. Oh, that was so sad. I think he miscalculated how many jumps he had left, rather, and he just missed the ledge. He could have made it back at that point, but
actually,
he didn't have enough options to where ishet would be unpredictable. I think he touched the wall at the very end.
I think he did. I think he got a little bit of a tap there, and Ishet's follow-up ground pound was exactly the catalyst to throw him off and take the stock away instead of losing the jumps. But Ishet now trying to get back to the wall, and this is 2D seems to have a lot of difficulty getting the hit connections that he needs in that edge guard. Ishet trying to get back onto the stage, or at least just holding on to that wall space so they can get a little bit more damage and disruption onto 2D. 2D still having a little bit of trouble here, but finding that recovery, almost getting the KO off the top, but not quite. But that is going to be it. The side sig charged up and held down. That little bit of mix up there, throwing Ishet off is exactly what he's going to need.
Yeah, I think for 2D to win this game, he's going to want to just keep Ishet out as much as possible. Like, he can't actually let Ishet get onto him, and he's kind of just going to have to play a clean neutral game, which is exactly what he's doing right now. Ishet hasn't touched the ground in a good bit, and he got him all the way to orange. I think 2D is really just going to have to rely on his bow skill here, because the sword hasn't been working out too well for him, but he already put Ishet into the red that quickly with his bow.
It was kind of funny because that's what happened in a similar fashion yesterday when he started losing, and he swapped and doubled down on the sword rather than go to a different bow character at the very least. So I'm glad that he's holding onto the bow more often than not this time around. He seems to be doing a lot better.
Ooh, one more hit. Nice down air. Dive kicking him into the abyss below in Brawlhalla, which of course in Brawlhalla you can't afford to go so low like you would on other maps to potentially dodge that out, because the blast zone is so close to the magnifying glass. From like the point where you just disappear off the stage, you only have like half a second before you actually fall off the stage. 2D though, proving me wrong about his sword and already starting to get these hits and rack up the damage onto Ishet. Ishet had a strong start with the cannon, but hasn't really been able to find much since, and that's an unfortunate drop on the downlight combo. If he would have down aired there, he would have found the kill. A nice side stick from 2D, not quite going to kill yet, even though it's Brawlhalla. And that neutral light, we've seen neutral light kill on Brawlhalla so many times, it will never not kill.
It's a little bit of that downward angle makes it a little scary once you get thrown off, and the fact that I don't know if it was one of the attacks that did get buffed in the last patch, but it seems to be hitting pretty hard now, especially when you launch someone off stage. And so as an edge guard, when people are trying to get back, it seems like a fantastic option. But that weapon throw into the neutral light, weapon throw is a bait to throw. The dodge is going to be enough for 2D to take game number 1 and take the lead in the set. And I believe all these are going to be best of 5, so it is going to be a big fight, a long haul, whatever you want to call it. It's going to test the mettle of every one of these players.
Yeah, and Ishet, unsurprisingly, looking back at his pick that carried him all the way to top 8 yesterday, the old rim with the... I feel like I know the name of that skin, but I don't right now. But it's green. He's using green on that skin. And he's got a big head. That's about all I can say. Already opening up with the lance. He didn't have this on Zul, and it's already looking like this might be helping him out a lot more. Lots of down airs being landed by Ishet. 2D now finding himself a weapon, preparing to respond with a sword of his own. Trying to keep Ishet in the air. Good back and forth movement by Ishet to trick 2D up though and be able to land on the ground.
Well, already Ishet getting a lot more damage with the lance and trying to throw 2D off stage. 2D making it back to the wall, trying to get back on stage himself, but finding an avenue of approach, getting a few side lights and mix. The weapon throw, getting a little bit of mix up and not finding a follow-up with the sword as well is going to give him a little bit of room to work with until Ishet does find that axe. But Ishet not on the ground. He's going to have a little bit of trouble here in 2D. Actually having so much success with the sword right now, surprisingly. Not sticking to the bow as hard as he was quite in the beginning of the last game, and it looks like it's paying dividends with the ability of the sword right now. He's got the neutral air in almost taking out Ishet, so he's got the damage, almost does it again, but he's hitting him from about the height of the stage, which this has such a huge blast zone off the top. It's going to take a little bit more than that, but maybe another 2 would be able to finish it off. Oh, the clash, actually. Or no, I guess he did get the hit just before the weapon throw got a hit confirmation there. So he did get a full recovery back on him, even though it might have been exhausted. What a great timing on that attack for ishet to turn things right around and get that reversal.
And this is where ishet can get a lot of mileage here because 2D hasn't been able to touch him since he lost his stock. And ishet is already just building up the damage. 2D now has a weapon, but for most of that damage buildup, 2D just wasn't able to find himself a weapon, and ishet was zoning him out with Lance. But now it's time for ishet to play the reverse, I was gonna say, until a weapon spawned right on top of him. So now ishet is back in the driver's seat with this. Lance has 2D off the stage. 2D manages to find his way back, though, with the side light, down light, neutral light. That is a huge damage build-up combo for Bo. Looked for a side light into side light follow-up, but ishet went high instead of just dodging on the ground. 2D already starting to neutralize this damage lead that ishet had built himself, but ishet knocking 2D off stage. Gonna need one more hit. Nice slide into ground pound, the classic closeout combo for unarmed edge guards.
Already setting up in the center of the stage, ishet with the lance, setting up another lance so that he can have double lance action if he gets this one lost or throws it away. 2D trying to get a little bit more action with the sword as well. The versatility paying off dividends right now as he gets a little more, a few more hits in. Missing that neutral state going to cost him a little bit, but it's not too much as ishet didn't find a heavy counterattack there to get the punish in. ishet now with the axe just dash dancing a little bit, trying to keep his spacing just good enough so that he's not in this approach range from 2D. A nice approach on the weapon throw. He's got 2D off stage, tries to go for the new ground pound, but it doesn't connect, and that's going to be 2D finding a good punish. Looking for a KO right now. He needs it sooner than later because ishet's still holding a stock above him.
Yeah, and I'm worried about the fact that 2D is already showing signs this set in this second game of not being able to kill ishet. The first stock ishet lived to about this high damage, and generally when you have a sword and a bow, your opponent should never be living this long. And it's really like, it's giving ishet a lot of time to build up extra damage on 2D before he even goes into even stocks. And he's not even going to drop to his final stock, landing the gravity cancel side signature on Lance and evening the set up to 1-1. It is now essentially a best of 3 just like yesterday.
Well, I mean, this time around, though, it's not going to be decided in game 3 either way because this is the top 8. This is the top best of 5. It's going to go on a little bit longer than that. So we're going to find out if someone's just going to take a different advantage in this portion of the set. We can find out if they would have won yesterday if they faced off 1 round earlier. But they are going to be going back to Shipwreck Falls, and ishet is going to just take a 2D right off stage, but he does have enough recovery options to get back, so it's not going to be too devastating. Getting caught in one of those lance strings off stage can be, but it looks like he went for a different read than what 2D went for to get back to stage.
Right now, 2D just seems like he needs an answer to ishet's lance. Every time that ishet grabs that weapon, he just finds so much unanswered damage onto 2D. 2D's always able to respond with the bow with quick, like 2 or 3 hit strings, but that's not enough to respond to the massive amounts of damage that ishet has been finding. He has now brought ishet into the red himself now, though. ishet landing an axe there, looking for the follow-up on Lance to end out the stock. 2D went quickly onto the stage, though, instead of letting ishet stare him. ishet with a nice X-pivoted neutral light. I actually think that move is great on Lance, and ishet has been using it to great effect. That Sarah is going to close out his stock. Now 2D already on to his second stock. ishet sitting in the red of his first stock. And I think the real telling part of this match is whether or not 2D can find this kill quickly. And right now he's getting zoned out by ishet's lance. He can't find his way towards that weapon that's on the right side of the stage. He does find a haymaker to knock ishet off the stage, though. Grabs the bow for himself. He's probably looking for either some sort of signature on this bow or perhaps a recovery, though I haven't seen him use the recoveries a whole lot to find the kills.
The recovery, I mean, he would have to get ishet off, or I guess you were talking about ishet using the recovery. That was a
potential recovery right there after the downlight. Yeah. It didn't end up mattering because he found the downlight recovery on sword, but I would love to see him use the recovery instead of that nair there on Chipwreck, because that could have cost him a lot if he hadn't found that downlight recovery right after.
2D looking for a little bit more damage onto ishet's new stock, trying to extend out his second one, but it looks like he might get stuffed out, and there's the ground pound coming right in, right off on the wall. That is all she wrote for that second stock. I mean, there's so little wall space that you can't really get back and try to out-time your opponent by going low, or you sometimes if you have the angle you can unarm. That's a lot of damage.
He can kill him right here.
Oh
There's
my
the ground pound.
gosh, huge KO on a 2D, and that's going to be another 2-stock for Machete on Shipwreck Falls. If 2D doesn't ban this map out, I'm just going to be flabbergasted.
Yeah, I feel like Shipwreck Falls was not doing 2D any favors there, considering the fact that he was almost never in the advantage state. And Shipwreck Falls, in particular, is a map where if you find yourself in the advantage more often than not, that map is going to work really well for you because there's very little wall space, like you said, so your opponent can't retreat to the wall, and you get caught up in the air really easily. So here we go, moving on to the next game. We got 2D actually swapping to Hattori on this one.
Well, this is another pick that I think he's used quite a bit in the past. Ishet getting the weapon advantage, and he's going to be weapon starving 2D for a little bit. Oh, the dash off stage is going to mean he's going to take a little bit longer getting to that weapon, but he does finally find a spear. It's going to give him a little bit of a spacing option. And I remember he did a pretty fantastic job. This was kind of what got him into the top 8, lower side of the bracket yesterday, was the spear play. And I can't remember who it was against.
Well, I remember it was against a cannon player, which I think the thinking here is that like fundamentally the way that Lance at least uses Sair is pretty similar to the way that Cannon uses Sair, and maybe he's thinking that it's similar in how he's going to answer it, and so far it's been working out for him. He's been, for the first time this set, it's really felt like he had an answer for Ishet's Lance so far. Ishet even throwing the Lance away himself right there, which I haven't seen him do the entire time. 2D landing a downlight recovery on the sword, closing out Ishet's first stock. And for the first time in the entire set, really feeling like he has a foothold here.
I mean, the spear. Say what you want about his use of the sword, at least in the first few games today. But 2D's use of spear was definitely what got him into the top 8. So him using it here to great success is not really surprising at all.
Ishet, though, able to close out that stock, bring closer. That's 2 nairs, already starting to build up the damage. A nice Sair from 2D to put Ishet off the stage, and a side signature to stop Ishet's approach back onto the stage. It seems like 2D is now getting a good read on how Ishet wants to get himself out of a disadvantaged state, and that's where he's getting a lot of his punish damage so far. Ooh, a nice side signature. Jeez.
That's 2 of those in a row that he's thrown out that have just been very surprisingly on point. The first one, just timing it right after the hitboxes for the Lance neutral light disappeared. So a second one coming out finding that KO. It's not too often that I see people using that signature too well. I usually see people using the neutral sig on spear instead because it kind of covers that same space, but is sometimes a little safer in some instances. It's kind of interesting because that one throws your hitbox forward and can be really risky to use, especially against something like Lance that has a disjointed hitbox in the front.
Yeah, I think what 2D has done here is even though Ishet just found that KO, he's slowed down the pace of the game, not just a tiny bit, so that he's playing more at his pace, and Ishet is having to change up the pace of his own gameplay. And I feel like that's affecting him majorly because he can't overwhelm 2D with constant Lance follow-ups and stuff like that. He's only really able to find one hit at a time before 2D is able to reset himself to neutral. And I think 2D's doing a great job of just being able to play his own game and counter exactly what Ishet wants to do. But now it's getting down into last stock red territory. 2D finds a recovery, but that's not quite going to be enough to close out the game. And that's scary. Ishet found the downlight. 2D is now off stage. This is potentially his tournament life right here. He has to now find a way back onto the stage versus Ishet, who is just weapon starving him. Ishet now has the Lance for himself. 2D found the spear, but that Sair's not going to close it out.
Weapon throw, 2D trying to make his way back on the stage. Ishet finding the axe. It's only going to take a signature or a side air or a recovery or just any heavy attack, really, any high force hit. 2D and Ishet trying to find a way back, but Ishet is going to take the spear sider to the face, and 2D is going to live for another round, and this is going to go into another game.
Game 5.
Number 5.
The first of the day, but I can nearly guarantee you that it won't be the last.
Not for a long shot. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on what side of the coin you're looking on, but I mean, in terms of Ishet, he had the game in the bag. So game 5 is a very unfortunate situation here. He was right there hoping for that side air, hoping for even a grounded ground pound. And the way it works now would have been fantastic for it.
And
But
2D
is going to be... Whew,
2D just waiting for a sec, maybe giving himself a breather, maybe thinking a little bit about characters, even though I think that Atori has been working absolutely great for him. But sometimes before an important game 5, your heart's beating a little fast, especially after a last stock red where you could have gotten knocked out there, and you just got to take a second and say, all right, let me just stabilize my own heart rate so I don't play like an idiot. And especially when you're having to play against a player like Ishet who can punish you for like slipping, even just for a single second, you can get caught off stage and get hit by a Lance ground pound before you even realize what's happening. So,
I mean, that's one of those things where,
Apocalypse.
Especially if you get...
Apocalypse,
wait,
please.
it's in the mix.
Do it.
Don't go to Shipwreck Falls. I feel like Ishet's putting it there because he had so much...
Oh!
Oh, it's going to happen. Oh, my gosh. We were talking about this yesterday, and, we were hoping that someone would pick this map because it's the first tournament that this map is, in the map pool. And now it is happening. This small map, one little platform on that left side. It's going to be... Oh, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be Apocalypse. Ooh, here we go. Ishet starting things off with the Lance, getting a little bit of axe damage off to start as well, and trying to zone out 2D from this weapon spawn. It's going to be almost successful as 2D goes around the wall side and picks up the spear. This is going to be that weapon that he found so much success with when facing off against this Lance.
And now I will say that both players have benefits from this map if they know how to utilize that platform. It's definitely something that I'd expect more to see from a player like Dobrain, and I don't know if these players are comfortable in converting like this, especially considering how new the map is. But Spear, I believe, can actually get double downlight on that platform if you platform cancel it right, and Axe can do the classic sidelight into downlight, which is always good on platform stages. So I'm not sure if either of these players seem like the type of players to do it, but there are benefits to picking Apocalypse. Ishet, though, responding with a Haymaker to knock out 2D's first stock and give himself a lead. It's looking more like the first, or like games 2 and 3 than games 1 and 4 right now for Ishet, as he is just already solidifying himself with a lead, and 2D's going to have to find a quick response with this sword if he wants to bring the game back to even.
Ishet still working that Lance, trying to get more damage off onto 2D on his second stop. 2D having a little bit of trouble forcing Ishet into that kills on the red zone in terms of health, and that's going to be a little bit of a trouble for him because not being able to find KOs. This was a problem that he had yesterday, and this is what kind of cost him that first game and some of those closer matchups yesterday in his qualification match. Ishet finding another KO off on the right side. This is going to be a difficult slog. 2D is going to have to find a reverse 3-0 onto Ishet to just survive in this tournament. It is not looking good.
2D was actually about to equalize the stock numbers with a double downlight on Spear into presumably Sarah recovery, but the second downlight just dropped. He might have done it a little bit slow, because Ishet actually just managed to jump out of it, and man, Apocalypse is sealing, saving Ishet from that downlight recovery. I cannot believe that didn't kill for 2D, and I'm sure he can't believe it either, as Ishet is just continuing to build up this damage. 2D is going to have to play absolutely perfectly if he wants to beat Ishet in this match, considering Ishet is on 2 stocks of white, and 2D is already in the orange. 2 or 3 more good hits is going to put 2D into the realm of death.
He's already got him in the red zone. This is kill potential, especially for Lance on this map. This is especially dangerous because a lot of that knockback force, the force vertices are going to be in horizontal zones. So a lot of those side airs, down airs, especially forcing 2D off stage with the shorter map. I mean, it's not as small as something like Shipwreck Falls, but this is still especially dangerous. And there it goes. Ishet finds it with the sidelight side air and takes the game in game 5, 3-2 against 2D, and we'll be moving on to the losers quarterfinals.
And Ishet proving any haters wrong. He did make it into top 8 yesterday via a DQ by Agzo. So I'm sure there were some rumblings and some people who were like, was he really going to make top 8 if Agzo didn't DQ? Is Ishet really on the caliber of the rest of these players? And I think after that match, it is very safe to say that yes, he is, because he looked dominant in all 3 of his wins. Honestly, the losses, it was weird because on the wins, it looked like if you showed me games 2, 3, and 5, I would have said that it's probably a 3-0. But I don't know, maybe he was just kind of, analyzing 2D's playstyle and he needed sort of an adjustment period to 2D's new selection of character. But right now we have Simple and Blue, the teammates,
yeah.
both hovering random.
Yeah.
And please go to Apocalypse.
Please go to Apocalypse. Not Shipwreck. Anything but Shipwreck. Either one of these. Except Shipwreck.
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse. Okay,
Oh,
I'll take it.
Good enough. Oh, Blue actually got Jiro, which he pulled out yesterday, and Simple got Mordex, who, I mean, I feel like every competitive player has a Mordex in their back pocket or has played Mordex at some point in time. So this is a little more, I'm sure, like, legitimate picks than these two are probably expecting to get from random.
I'm really sad that we didn't see, like, Cassidy versus Vrax.
That would have been amazing.
Oh, Blue versus Simple right now. Blue on the Jiro. Jiro trying to take Simple off stage and almost gets him in a offstage string to take him all the way to that blast on the right side, but Simple turning things around, and now it's going to be the Scythe mirror match as Blue tries to make his approach onto Simple. Simple now with the turnaround, trying to avoid some of this damage of the recovery coming out onto Blue, and Blue, the reversal coming out. Does he have a recovery? He does, and the chase dodge to get back to stage. Almost Simple had the opportunity there. He had Blue's recovery options essentially gone, but he missed that opportunity to take advantage. And the triple neutralite follow-up, pushing Blue off stage into the swing active input down air, is going to find that early KO.
Yeah, nice job closing out the first stock by Simple. I mean, he is rocking the Gold Forge Scythe himself. It appears that he might have more Scythe experience than Blue overall, which wouldn't entirely surprise me. Blue has never really struck me as a Scythe player, but at least Blue does have this sword, which we know he's very comfortable on, considering most of the time he plays a Suri.
Throws out the neutral sig, trying to read out the aerial option, but it's not there. Simple going to high, trying to get that triple neutral air off onto Blue, and not able to find a KO off on the left side over in the corner, and Simple still going to look for it, though. The side air from Blue is going to find that KO on Simple, and it's going to equalize the stocks, and Blue still down a little bit. Is going to have to find some more damage from this side, some strings, some combos, anything to get him back to even and take an advantage.
Yeah, I think Simple has a few more consistent signatures to be able to find these early knockouts on Blue, whereas Blue's going to have to work a little harder. Oh, Blue actually trying to drop too low to dodge out Simple's follow-up Sarah off of that first Gauntlet Sarah, and ending up just dying there. A slight mistake from Blue, but also good job by Simple to shut off all of his options with options of his own. And now Simple is rocking the Scythe on Blue's fresh stock. One big conversion here could put him a full stock ahead. A nice down air into Sarah, now finding the downlight, reading high, but Blue ended up going low. Blue now finding his way back onto the stage with a downlight Sarah, and a nice jump off Sarah to end Simple's stock early, and not at nearly as much of a deficit from the first stock to the second stock, now to the second to the third. Very possible for Blue here. Simple's still got a lead of his own, though.
Now he's got to use gauntlets, and I don't think we've seen him use gauntlets this match yet. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not really sure how his gauntlets are, because I don't remember seeing him play gauntlets in a while, but I could be wrong. I could be forgetting something some time ago. Blue, though, getting caught by that neutral sig, and that is going to do it. Simple finding that KO off on the top from the neutral sig and taking game number one.
The neutral sig?
Yeah, he's the winner of the random rousel.
The neutral sig that we have seen so many times getting KOs in tournaments, usually by way of Sandstorm, but Simple showing that he's no slouch on the Mordex either. Simple looking like he's committing to the random. Blue not as sure. Yeah, Blue actually bringing out the Lin Fei. Simple dropping him a quick question mark saying, I thought we were playing random. Blue is not taking any of this anymore.
No random? No. Just a simple no. No capital, no spaces, no periods, no exclamation marks, no question marks, nothing like that. Just simple no. Well, I think Simple might still go random. Blue, well, I mean, I don't know. He still has random picked. Either way, Blue isn't going to do it. He's going to go with the Asuri. He's going to use that guitar and sword, even though he won the last game. Oh, no, he's going to switch over to the Lin Fei at the last second, and Simple is going to stick with the random. So
they're trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out right now whether or not Simple's allowed to swap. And he's actually not allowed to swap, I guess.
Well, he is.
Now he's stuck against Blue's Lin Fei playing random. He's just got to pray to the random gods at this point that he gets a good
Cassidy. He
character.
gets a Cassidy.
He got Mordex twice in a row out of all the characters in the game.
What are the chances? He gets Mordex literally 2 times in a row. What is this ridiculousness?
3, 2, 1.
Now, this is where Simple is playing for the big marbles here, because if he beats Blue, he can always say to Blue, if they're ever having a teammate argument, he can just say, hey, remember that time when I beat you and you picked Lin Fei against me and I was still playing random?
In tournament, in top 8. And then I eliminated you with it. That's because if he wins this one, then he has to play it again. And if he wins 3 in a row as random, then I mean, that's just something else. But I think Blue is going to start to turn up here. He does have the cannon. He's got the guitars, and guitars, of course, is somewhere that is very familiar to him. And the neutral stick coming out. Blue only having taken 1 attack's damage, and he is just looking insane right now. And this is exactly it. This is Blue turning up. He's not taking anything else anymore. Simple is he's got to figure out a way to get in on this cannon, because this cannon is just some dirty stuff.
Ooh, almost looking for the double recovery there. Finds the nair, putting Blue off stage. Nice recovery. He's going to need 1 or 2 more hits. Yeah, Cannon is so effective at recovering back to the stage. So Simple is going to be hard-pressed to find a quick gift like that.
No down air coming out, trying to pull out Blue from the ground. Blue with the double side light. Simple now going off stage, looking for that ground pound. Not going to find it as it goes not off stage, but grounded. And Blue now with this more side lights, getting that aerial coverage from the ground with that move, and another one coming in, getting the back hit from the downlight, popping up. Simple finding a signature move, and it's not going to be enough. Throws out another one, trying to catch Blue out, but he's not going to find him still. Ground pound coming down, grounded off from the ground, and Blue trying to get off the wall space and finding his way back. The down stick coming out, and the side air is going to be what it takes to take Simple's second stock, and Blue is just completely switching things around.
Yeah, at this point, Simple's going to need some major plays, probably on the scythe, since it seems like he's far more comfortable with that than another weapon, but actually ends up throwing it right there to try to find the early kill on Blue and isn't able to reclaim his scythe. So now he's stuck weaponless versus Blue's cannon, and I'll tell you that versus cannon is... You don't want to be weaponless at any point in time. Cannon is one of the hardest punishing weapons, and Lin Fei's other weapon, guitars, are also known for being insane versus unarmed. Simple actually finds the KO with a gauntlet neutral light, and now he's going to try to find himself some sort of gift, something to bring him back into the game versus Blue right here.
Jumps right into that side air and takes a big hit from Blue. Manages to find a disruption here. I think he might have been expecting the down sig. That recovery, that exhaustive recovery, kind of scared me a little bit, because it looked like he might not have had any other recovery options there, and it looked, I don't know. That would have been, if that was going to be it, that would have been really disappointing for Simple's sake. But the side stick coming out, the weapon throw, not going to find it, and Blue doesn't get the wall touch, so that is going to do it for that second stock. And Simple does have an opportunity here to take it back. He is in red health, though, in his final stock, so he's got to find something big in order to equalize the damage here, to put the pressure back onto Blue.
Yeah, and at this point,
reverse 3 is it's there.
Oh, there's the nair off stage. Blue able to find a recovery to get himself back onto the stage, but Blue has not been able to find anything major in quite a bit right here. Simple just been able to zone him out, but Blue finding the neutral signature, a classic Lin Fei closeout. Simple actually bringing it pretty close, even considering the fact that he was playing
random.
Yeah, random. And now
he got random twice in a row. He got Mordex somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
He was actually pretty. He did a pretty good job at it, honestly. Whether he's a Mordex player or not, he had the abilities. He had the skills. He almost had Blue off on that left side near the end to get the reverse 3-0, but of course it turned around. Blue was able to get the neutral stick, and those active frames are very punishing. So that was all he really needed there. Going into the next game, though, he isn't going to be playing random anymore. He is going to be going with, I think that's Saul. I don't actually recognize that
Thor.
skin. Is that Thor? I don't recognize the skin
which
at all.
I'm surprised at, because I don't think I've ever seen Simple play Thor. I think he was talking yesterday about how he thought Orb was really strong. So maybe he was working in the lab a little bit, in between yesterday making top 8 and now to work on his Orb and brush it up a little bit. And he wants to see if this Orb can do anything versus Blue.
Well, he's definitely going to give it a shot. He's got the hammer on the back end, but he is going to be swapping to that Thor Orb. That Thorb.
The Thorb.
So to speak.
I'm convinced that they only made Thor just so they could make that fun on dev streams.
If I am being honest, knowing BMG, that is probably 100% the reason that they did that.
Ooh, wow. That was a nice slide off neutral light to hit Blue back onto the stage. He hasn't really established stage control yet, but he has been getting more damage than Blue overall, so it's okay for now. He's going to need to get stage control soon, though, if he wants to find this KO early on Blue. Finding the side air, a good side air follow-up attempt, but wasn't quite able to find it. And a nice neutral signature is actually going to KO Blue really fast. Simple getting Blue back a little bit, saying, okay, I'm on a new character now. I'm on a character that I actually selected instead of playing random. And already coming out with these huge plays on Orb. I wasn't sure how his Orb would look, but he already looks pretty comfortable on the weapon.
No big strings, no combos just yet, but he is getting a lot of damage, and it's very consistent, which is all you really need in the end, as long as you're not taking too much damage in return. He's throwing out some of the signature moves, trying to catch Blue off in some form or fashion. The ground pound coming out, double ground pound, not going to connect though, and Simple coming back off the wall, following Blue to the center of the stage, and Blue looking for a little bit more with these guitars, and whether or not he can find it is a little up in the air. Simple's been doing a good job at avoiding a lot of these big hits, and he's managing to find the haymaker as well, maybe positioning himself off stage looking for a ground pound attempt, but doesn't want to really risk it against guitars with the recovery.
Right now, yeah, Simple looking for the hammer side swing. I'm not surprised. That would have KO'd considering the side horizontal blast zones on Miami Dome and how much just force that move has. I respect him for looking for it, especially since he was in the deep red. It was pretty much an all or nothing move. Blue ended up finding the KO move onto Simple, but he is pretty far into the red. One or two good hits from Simple will knock him out, and that stop stare is going to put Simple a full stock ahead of Blue now. Blue is going to have to make some big plays on either the sword or these guitars if he wants to be able to respond to Simple in this game. And Simple just has to keep landing these consistent hits with Orb like he has been in the past. A nice side landing this air. Already starting to build up the damage onto Blue. And he's just overall, he's playing this neutral game very much so like he'd play any other weapon. But it seems like he is familiar with Orb's moveset. So he's not like he's entirely new on the weapon. He's just not doing a lot of the intricate things that you might see actual Orb players playing.
Well, yeah, that is definitely a pretty big distinction. I mean, knowing the hitboxes and knowing the neutral and knowing when to throw an attack is definitely something that all players should be comfortable with, whether you're familiar with the combos, the strings, or not. I mean, and Simple has that here, which is why he's able to be successful with it. But at the same time, it can only take you so far, and Blue's going to take advantage of the fact that he can't really do anything without Orb, or at least he doesn't want to do anything without Orb. And Blue is just going to find a KO off on that side. And now Simple trying to get a little bit of unarmed damage here. He is going to find that Orb back, and maybe we'll find him taking this game down if he can stay as successful as he was the whole time. But Blue's not quite in that red zone yet. He's not going to take an L to any big hits so far. So he's got a little bit more time to bring this back.
Simple hasn't really been using these Orb Sigs aside from that KO with the neutral Sig on the first stock. So as I say that, I'm not surprised that he already is starting to pull them out to try to find this KO on Blue. Blue though hitting him with an air, and that's there. One more hit. That's the gravity cancel neutral signature from Blue, KOing Simple and taking game 3. That was super clutch by Blue, just punishing Simple off stage with that predictable recovery. And I'm just saying those gravity cancel NSIGs are something that you will only see work as efficiently when you're watching Blue play.
Blue right after the match. I'm insane. All right. Well, either way, going into the next game, game number 4, Blue up 2-1 in the set. Simple looking for his survival right now. This is the lower side of the bracket. This is one of those surprising matches where yesterday went so unusually that Blue and Simple, people that you normally see in the top 3, maybe facing off in grands or winners finals or something along those lines, they're facing off in the first match of loser's side bracket. And so this is going to be a potential elimination for Simple. He's got to be careful. He's got to find a W here and put Blue into the same situation he's in right now. And it looks like Simple more willing to play the hammer game this time, especially off stage. And I think it might help him out as long as he can find the stomp side airs, neutral air, anti-air volleys if he gets Blue in the air, and at least gives a little thought to some of that off-stage play with hammer. But he is going to lose it right here.
Yeah, great spacing by Blue there. Simple was just throwing out all of the different Thor hammer signatures to shut off his options as he came back onto the stage, and Blue managed to weave all around all of them and get back onto the stage. Now Blue had Simple in the disadvantage state for a second. Blue only needs one downlight to convert into that recovery to close out Simple's stock, whereas Simple is probably going to be looking for either a downlight or a signature of his own. A good gravity cancel, downlight recovery, the sword classic. Blue finding himself his first stock, looking to already go up to an advantage in what could potentially be the final game of this set for him. I'm sure he wants to move on and doesn't want to have to deal with Simple's Thor for any longer than he has to. Simple, though, finding the quick response kill, bringing it into even damage and even stocks.
Ooh, Simple with a nice string there coming out of the side light side air combo, and now a little bit more damage. He's looking for some of the more orb damage, not orb, and Blue with the sword getting a little bit of a consistent damage buildup on the Simple, and he's doing a pretty good job of turning this around in terms of damage numbers, just raw damage numbers at least. Simple finding that orb again, though, going to give him a little bit of space as he got Blue on the wall, and there's another side light to side air combo. Side air trying to come out, trying to push Blue more off stage. The weapon throw coming down, almost gonna bop Simple in the head, but it's not gonna be quite enough, or not quite close enough. But Blue taking a little bit more damage, and now Simple has a bit of the advantage here. And the neutral sig coming out, launching Blue into the sky, and that's another stock eliminated. And Blue is in a bit of a predicament.
Yeah, Simple has been finding a lot of these side airs overall, but hasn't really been able to punish Blue when he's coming back to the stage for most of the times when he knocks him off stage. That N-Sig was the one exception as he caught Blue going high and trying to make his way to the other side of the stage. And now Simple has secured himself a nice damage lead, already getting Blue into the orange on his last stock. Blue going to find a downlight sider, and that is going to kill. Now let's see how hard Blue can potentially weapon guard Simple. Will Simple be able to find a weapon? It actually spawned on the far side of Blue. Blue not throwing his guitars to try to keep it away from Simple's hands, just letting him get in and grab the orb. Now Simple already finding some side airs again, just trying to rack up this damage slowly but surely onto Blue. Blue now getting into the deeper orange. Another sidelight, but isn't quite able to convert into the side air. That is a true combo, but it's very difficult to perform, especially on a character with lower dexterity like Thor.
Mm-hmm. He's still able to find it, though, and trying to go off stage, looking for more side airs. Blue going
Not again.
Down with the ground pound. Simple able to shark around the map and get to the other side back on stage just before Blue could stop him. And there's the double downlight into recovery. Simple a little in trouble now. He's approaching the red zone. Blue just at the front door of that red zone as well. Neutral sig coming out of the top, and Simple is going to find the KO, surviving one more round longer at the least, as Blue and Simple go into another game, or not another, but they go into game 5, and we are going to be seeing another game 5.
I did not even think that hit until I realized that the game was over.
God.
Like, I was 90% sure that Blue had dodged that neutral signature at that point, but I guess it did hit Simple, knowing his hitboxes, knowing when he can hit and when he can't. Hovering some different orb legends, hovered the Petra for a second, hovered the Dusk for a second, but he actually ended up just going back to the Thor.
You didn't happen to catch that damage at the end, did you? Because it was literally one damage. It was a one damage separation, 534 to 533.
It definitely felt like the closest game of this set so far, so I'm not very surprised. I mean, that ending section at the end there could have gone to either player, depending on whoever got their finishing hit first, which I guess is the case for any game, but don't have to call me on that one. Blue actually making the swap over to the Koji, maybe thinking that Bo is gonna serve him better in this matchup versus Thor than the Katars were. Even though the Katars are what secured him that third game with that Gimp, or was it the second game? Third game? Not sure.
The third game. It's the third game.
The third game.
Either way, Blue is going to be using this bow a little bit more than the than I think we're expecting, especially because of how much. Oh my gosh, Blue just exploding left to right side of the stage, going coast to coast, and just eliminating that stock from contention completely within the first 45 seconds. Just an amazing set of events there, rolling all together for Blue. Perfect.
And he actually dropped the arm raise taunt on him, which is a taunt that I don't think I've seen in a tournament in so long. Given how many good taunts are in the game, to use the default, I feel like that's actually maximum BM. Which I would honestly, based on the way that the players have been interacting this set, if I didn't know that they were teammates, I would guess that there's some kind of grudge here.
I mean, you never know. There still could be. I mean, after today, if Blue or Simple wins this out, I mean, are they still going to be a team? I mean, yeah, probably. But still, I mean, this is the kind of drama that people live for, right? Either way, Simple finding that stock on the Blue as well. He's going to have knocked him off far enough that those recovery options just aren't going to be a factor, because this is Shipwreck. You get off stage and you get far enough away. Sometimes even having all your recovery, ooh, very nice option from Simple to get a little bit more range out of that recovery with the gravity cancel neutral sit on the orb.
Yeah, only Thor recovers these. You know, one of the greatest parts about Thor's orb as opposed to any other orb character is that he is the only one that has that gravity cancel neutral signature as a recovery option, and it serves Thor players so great, making them recover from situations where they normally wouldn't be able to. Blue, though, knocking Simple out and putting him onto the final stock now. Simple's going to have to find some major stuff if he wants to come back, and Blue is just playing perfectly on this sword right now, finding a dare into gravity cancel neutral light conversion, which I don't think I've ever seen any other sword player do. But honestly, it looked true. So I think Blue just knows his stuff on this one. And I think that the Koji swap has been the right choice for him, considering the bow has given him so much mileage in these first two stocks of this game. Now just sticking to the sword, though, trying to zone Simple out, keep Simple on the edges. The edges on this stage are not very big, so Simple is forced to recover back onto the stage. And Blue is just finding damage.
Ooh, with the down sig. I don't think we've seen Simple throw that out too much yet. And that down sig is a little, it's pretty interesting, because that second hit when he lands does have hitboxes, and I think that's something that, I mean, at least gets me all the time, because I always end up running into it trying to punish, but forget that exists. Either way, Simple is going to find the KO on the Blue off on the bottom with a few weapon throws after getting him in an edge guard situation. So that is going to be evened up stocks, but Simple still having a lot of damage built up. He's going to have to be careful. This is tournament life for both of these players, and it could swing either way. Even if Blue gets thrown off stage, one good edge guard from Simple could turn the game around.
Plank? The plank
Tommy
almost
Matt not going to be
out.
enough.
Simple now stuck in an
edge.
impossible situation. Blue actually dropped it. He hit the downlight but didn't do anything out of it. Literally any move would have worked there. He could have even done nair, he could have done sair, he could have done down air, could have done recovery. But instead he just opts to do nothing and look for the neutral signature. He just keeps hitting Simple. Soon he's going to knock out with this neutral light. Blue potentially showing a little bit of disrespect to Simple right now, and he could pay for it after Simple hits that ground pound. Now a neutral light. Simple
with so many mixed up approaches. He's changed up his play so much in that last section. It's not going to matter, though. Blue is going to take it down. A falling neutral air onto Simple, taking him right off the top. 2 damage to survive the attack. And Blue will be moving on, and Simple will be falling out as Blue moves into the quarterfinals. And now we are going to go up to the top side of the bracket. Winners semifinals to see Tito and Heissen and Machete and Addy Mestic look to see who will find themselves in the winners finals.
And a great 5-game set from Simple and Blue. I think that to see Blue go out that early would have been a surprise. And I think that Simple put up a great fight versus Blue, considering how consistent we know Blue to be and how early he finds himself in the losers bracket in this particular tournament. Of course, getting sent there by Machete, who is in our next set, rocking the Zol, against Addy Messick, who has been rocking the Petra. Just the uniqueness of the characters from EU on this tournament is blowing my mind. Of course, we were talking about yesterday how Boomy is playing Petra over in NA, and Sandstorm has been playing Zol over in North America. So it's almost as if we have their EU counterparts over here in Addy Mestic and Machete facing off in the losers bracket. And we will for sure see one of these players in the winners finals.
Well, things getting started off right now. Machete versus Addy Messick starting off right now. Addy Messick getting the orb pickup. Machete with the axe right now, getting a lot of damage off off to start this map. Some of these grounded hits, the downlights, the side lights, and some of these aerial neutral, like, connections here, going a long way for Machete to get a lot of damage built up on the Addy Messick. Addy Messick having a lot of trouble getting a little bit of damage off, any amount really, as he's not even broken the orange threshold of damage. And now Machete off stage, down air into weapon throw, is going to find the kill very quickly. Addy Messick had no recourse there for any sort of retaliation.
Yeah, I mean, Zul is known to just rack up damage on this cannon faster than any other character in the game. If you slack for even 1 second versus this character, he's just going to punish you. Addy almost finding the gravity cancel neutral signature on Gauntlets that is just so strong and that he was finding plenty of yesterday. Actually going for the Gimp there, overcommitting for a second there, but not getting punished for it by Machete. Machete hitting the downlight dare, looking for a follow-up, and already putting Addy Messick into the orange before Addy can find a kill move. Nice ground pound on the Gauntlets, though. Addy closing it out, looking to weapon starve Machete out a little bit, keep him off of that cannon for as long as possible, as Machete uses his invincibility to dash around a little bit and find himself an axe. Landing the sideline into Nair, looking for a recovery, but Addy canceling it with his down air on orb of his own.
Addy going real deep into these attacks, just throwing them out, trying to out-time Machete's startup frames to get some of these damage in, but he's going to have a little bit of trouble doing it on cannon as he gets caught by the gravity cancel downlight into neutral air and gets launched right off the top. And now Machete trying to survive a little bit longer against the respawn frames. Addy Messick coming back, and now with the gauntlets, something that Addy Messick is very familiar with. He's going to be throwing out some more of these signature moves. Machete, though, finding one attack into another after the dodge break, and this is even more damage coming out from Machete right now. Addy Messick having so much trouble dealing with Machete.
Yeah, I was wondering with how dominant both of these players were looking in their sets yesterday, who would kind of come out ahead on this one. So far,
Oh no!
Oh my gosh!
Oh no! Machete, I think he even realized it too when Addy Messick went for the ground pound, the edge guard, and he had the weapon throw. He said, I could pick this up, but I don't think I need to. And he just came down and bopped him on the head, and that was all she wrote. That is really unfortunate for Addy Messick.
Yeah, Addy used all of his potential recovery options on going for that edge guard. He used all of his jumps. Used all of his jumps on trying to line it up correctly with that ground pound. And then after he used the ground pound, all he had left was a dodge and a recovery. And he wasn't quite able to dodge through the cannon hitbox on the weapon throw. So as he did the startup frames on the recovery, he just got bopped by it. And at that point, he had nothing left to make it back to the stage. So Machete is going to end up taking game 1. Game 2 heading over to the Enigma. I think there are ways that this stage can work out well for both players. I tend to prefer cannon, like playing cannon on heavy platform stages, but Machete may be different. Axe also now has available those sidelight downlight or sidelight nair downlight combos, utilizing these platforms if Machete even opts for the axe at all.
He might pull it out at some instances, like he just swapped to it right now. He threw the cannon away for it, so you know he has something in mind for the weapon swap that he just pulled out. Looking for maybe a side air right now. Look, trying to find it right now. The neutral lights coming out the side airs. Addy Messick managing to find his way back on stage and the counter as well. Throw Machete off stage in the follow-up, the reversal, but still not able to find a KO just yet. The neutral sig coming out, still not enough. Throwing him into the corner of the map. The perfect place for Machete to survive, but the side air finally finding that KO off on the right side, giving Addy Messick a little bit of an advantage to start off game number 2.
Yeah, Addy is just playing a slow game right now, not necessarily finding any big explosive combos, but just, as opposed to last game, just hitting Machete one time after another, resetting back to neutral, and he was able to find that first stock, but Machete very quickly responded by finding the stock of his own and has now retaken the lead with that insane cannon damage. Just 2 hits, I believe, put Addy already into the yellow. Addy is definitely going to have to work a lot harder for this damage than Machete is going to have to. He's kind of fighting an uphill battle here. The only drawback for Machete being that he has to work maybe a little bit harder in neutral game.
Oh, getting some of these connections, going for the side sig. Interesting option there, as Machete looking for a little bit more horizontal force onto Addy Messick. Addy Messick now getting thrown off stage. Has to be a little careful, getting caught by the side air. And now this would be Machete finding a KO. The grab out coming up and launching the opposite direction I think that he was looking for. And now Addy Messick catching Machete without a weapon right now. Has an opportunity, but he's going to get sidelighted away, giving Machete time to get another cannon. And Addy Messick has just been getting punished consistently by this cannon, so he has to be careful. That approach, very nice, though, as he does find the Shoryuken on the top. Doesn't take the KO on Machete, though, in the dash that tries to X-pivot a neutral light. Doesn't find the connection there, but does find it later off on the right side. The KO on Addy Messick, now forcing him on his last stock. Addy Messick in trouble.
That was a grounded neutral light that just killed Addy, by the way. He literally bounced off the ground and he still died. Just a testament to how much force this character has. Of course, Zol having the highest force in the game, perhaps tied with Teros. I'm not sure if Machete is going full meme mode and using the force stance. Wow, that was a super nice orb there, peeking over the edge from Addy. Able to kind of catch Machete off guard. And now Addy rocking the gauntlet for himself. Machete rocking the axe. Both players kind of on their secondary weapons on these characters. Machete has been looking very promising on this axe though. Been able to find a lot of these neutral lights in the neutral game. And looking for the sidelight nair into neutral signature rather than taking the guaranteed downlight. I respect it. Addy landing the sidelight recovery, but it doesn't matter because Machete lands the side air, KOing Addy and taking game 2. And, you know, these games aren't close, but they're also not undoable for Addy.
Exactly.
This set is still very much within the realm of possibility for Addy, and Machete just has to keep doing what he's been doing if he wants to close it out. Addy's really going to have to step up on this one if he wants to be able to not get 3-0'd by Machete's insane Zol right now.
Well, already getting started now. Addy Messick banning out his maps, and Machete's choosing Shipwreck Falls. So, you know, Machete maybe has some kind of plan for this map in terms of cannon. I mean, I think we've seen it before, taking cannons, someone with cannon off stage in an offstage string, getting the right reads onto someone. I think if he finds a single one of those, Addy Messick probably loses this set.
I want to see Addy use more down signatures on gauntlets. It's a great signature. I mean, that honestly, that's good enough. Petra's gauntlet signatures are so good that I feel like Addy can be utilizing them more. And there is the uppercut into Shoryuken off the top of the stage. That's probably exactly why he picked Shipwreck Falls, so that he can catch Machete trying to come back onto the stage, going high, since those ledges are not very big. Machete, though, landing a nice gravity cancel downlight into instant nair to KO Addy and respond very quickly. Already a stock taken from each competitor within a minute of the game started.
More Shoryuken's getting thrown out by Addy Messick. I think he knows that he has to use more of these signature moves, and he's trying to find them, consistently throwing these out. If he can start throwing mix-ups into his play, it doesn't even need it. Throwing out more Shoryukens, the force, the speed behind it, so strong and so good at catching Machete off guard. He still has cannon though now. Off stage, is this going to be enough? No, not quite. Addy Messick finding one more jump to get back, one more recovery as Machete throws out a ground pound a little too early, but Addy Messick getting a little bit more damage this time, trying to be more aggressive in this game against Machete, throwing out more signature moves, more heavy attacks to throw Machete back. And now Machete coming back on stage. Addy Messick is going to make it, and Machete with the signature moves, trying to catch Addy Messick out with the big hits. The side air, could it be enough? Not quite, maybe. No, it is. It's going to be the breakdance coming out, finding KO number 2, and now stocks all even. Machete on the back foot for the first time this set.
Yeah, Addy just needs a few more good hits to put Machete into the kill percent. But Machete finding a quick combo of his own to instantly tie up the damage here. Addy on his back foot. This could be it if he gets hit by one more recovering your nair off the top of the stage. That neutral light is going to put him in a disadvantageous situation. Machete covering one of the options with the cannon throw, and that is actually going to close it out. There's no way Addy makes it back from this. That is going to be a 3-0 from Machete, breaking the pattern of 5-game sets so far, saying that he doesn't need 5 games to send himself spiraling into the winners finals, sending Addy down into the losers bracket to face ishet in that match. And honestly, Machete's Zone is just looking so freaking clean.
I mean, it's looking even nastier than yesterday, and I think, I don't think we can expect anything like that from yesterday. We were talking about our predictions. I think we were talking about considering how strong Addy Mestic was in his showings, how dominant he was in each one of the games he was playing against. I think he had that fire yesterday. I don't think we saw it nearly as much today until that last game, especially early on when he started taking an advantage. He was really landing a lot of those signatures. He was landing a lot of those hits, and he kind of resembled, a portion of what he was yesterday. But yesterday was a completely different Addy Mestic than we saw for most of that set just now. And we'll have to see if he'll continue to warm up, continue to explode, or if he's going to drop out in the lower bracket, because he's down there now with the rest of the paupers, you could say, and he's going to have to make his way. He's going to have to make the poverty run all the way back through the lower side. Either way, we got Tito and Heissen getting ready to go right now, ready to pick out the map. It's either going to be Twilight Grove. No, we're going to go to Mammoth Fortress. Tito on the Lin Fei and Heissen on the Asuri pick. And we saw these guys yesterday. They were absolutely insane in their matches, especially Tito on the Lin Fei. And I can't wait to see even more.
Yeah, very different styles of characters here. Asuri known more for building up consistent damage and just playing the game in a very clean style. And Heissen did play that kind of style yesterday. We said that he was very reminiscent of Noel from North America. And whereas Lin Fei is a very explosive character, if he finds one or two good reads, he can convert it into so much damage on either of the weapons.
Well, already getting a little bit more damage off here. Tito controlling the map space, and there he goes, getting the string off on the Heissen. That's some big damage. Not going to be the KO quite yet, but Heissen already taking so much damage, getting thrown off onto that side. Tito continuing the edge guard pressure, missing the opportunity for the neutral air. Heissen making his way back on the stage and trying to get some mileage out of the versatility of the sword.
Ooh, the neutral sig not quite going to close it out yet. You saw Tito using the down signature to ledge trap Heissen earlier. It didn't quite work out, but Lin Fei has very effective options for keeping your opponent on the ledge and not letting them get back onto the stage. Now he knocks him off with a neutral light. Heissen is going to have to use all of his options to even try to recover there, and Tito is just ready to punish it with the down air. Excuse me.
Heissen, though, unarmed right now on his respawn, trying to find something here to get the retaliation KO against Tito, but Tito with the guitars right now, trying to play around the diagonal angles that sword doesn't quite cover as well. Heissen throwing out the down sig raw and just not able to find the KO, or not able to find something here to get the KO on Tito. Tito now throwing out just some light attacks, just throwing out the neutral, finally finding that recovery off the top. Heissen is going to equalize the stocks in a pretty decent fashion. He only took one hit really overall, and that is all he's really gonna need. Tito with the cannon, though, turning things around, or not turning things around, but literally turning around with the side air back on stage, getting the edge guard pressure. This is the kind of damage he's gonna look for, those string starters, try to take Heissen coast to coast if he can find it.
Ooh, nice guitar conversions from Heissen, keeping Tito in the air, not letting him touch the ground, utilizing these nairs and recoveries. Ooh, a nice double dodge back from Heissen, able to find the sidelight to catch out Tito, but wasn't able to find any conversion off of it, as Tito was able to dodge out before he was able to find anything. Tito now finding the neutral light. The follow-up. Oh my lord, so much damage coming out from Tito. He did the neutral light and the gravity cancel down light, which I've been seeing him do a lot as his main follow-up from Cannon, and it's been working on most of his opponents. Landing the sideline into neutral light, or neutral sig rather. I don't think that combo is true, but it tends to catch out a lot of players on Lin Fei.
There it is again. I love that signature. It has so many active frames, and there it is, another signature. Lin Fei's active frames on her signatures are so crazy, and Lin Fei's just throwing out those signatures, catching Heissen out 3 times out of 3 in that last segment there. Just a testament to how strong they are as well, especially against Heissen trying to make those approaches, and Tito just able to catch him right out on the reads.
Tito going for his patented reverse gravity cancel guitar sidelight there, which would have let him get a lot of damage on the conversion, but Heissen, being smart, maybe watched a few VODs of Tito, did a little mental preparation, and he was ready to get out of that quickly and was able to punish Tito by taking his stock off of it. Ooh, some nice strength coming out from Heissen.
Heissen getting a little bit more damage too. This is exactly what he needs right now to combat the high damage, high force of Cannon right now, especially from Tito's Lin Fei, which has been just a monstrous pick. this entire tournament. Making his way back, landing the recovery for a little bit of space to make his way back to stage. Weapon throw not going to connect, but he does manage to recover the cannon, and this is going to give him a lot of opportunity here from the center of the stage to get some damage on the heissen. Heissen trying to get the gravity cancel, but going to get punished for it. Ground pound coming out from Tito, and that is going to be it for heissen. No, the clash might do it though, and that is going to be it. This last stock being taken down by not a heavy hit, not a ground pound, but a clash.
Yeah, and if you're Heissen, you're probably just cursing the day that clashes were put into the game. Because he honestly, for a second there, I thought he was completely dead after he got hit by that ground pound. And then I was like, oh crap, he's actually going to make it back, which I think is probably the same thing that Tito was thinking. And he just did the first thing that he could think of, which was a ground pound. And luckily for Tito, it ended up clashing, and Heissen just barely wasn't able to make it back onto the stage.
Well, he had that opportunity right there at the last second, but Tito, of course, did see his own opportunity to nip it in the bud, and that's, kind of what you have to expect from players in these tournaments, looking for those opportunities to just find wins, find victories, and just move on to the next set. And this is Tito still trying to find that next set, looking for one more win here to set him up for the last section of the set. I can't even believe that felt like 2 games. I don't even know how. But this is the second game in the set. Tito looking for a little bit more here. Weapon throw from the guitar is going to get a little bit of disruption on the heissen as he makes his way across the stage. And more damage coming out from Tito. This neutral stick coming out, trying to read the dodge inward, but not going to find the down stick reading the approach. Ooh. And there's a side stick as well. So many sticks coming out, finding connections on the heissen, damage and force in tow, and that is going to be another stock down for heissen.
And so far it hasn't been working out since Tito forced heissen onto the left side platform and was able to find the early KO horizontally. But I think the reason that heissen selected Blackguard here is the same reason that he did yesterday. As I say that, Tito almost knocking heissen out.
I swear, Tito needs to find, he needs to pick maps or set maps to be picked that have very close blast zones, because if he was playing on Brawlhaven, Miami Dome, or Apocalypse even, I think you'd be finding those KOs on those left and right sides when he goes and he finds those offstage strings, those offstage dodge punish strings.
Yeah, and I think that's the exact thing that heissen was going with when he selected this stage, because both of Heissen's weapons, guitars and sword, KO more vertically, whereas Tito's weapons want to KO horizontally, and that's also how Tito has been finding most of his KOs in all of his sets yesterday, and even his set so far versus heissen. But wow, heissen just played that stock absolutely perfectly. I don't even know if Tito was able to get many hits off on heissen, and heissen just turned the game in his favor extremely quickly by playing super well on this sword. Not really favoring the guitars right now, feeling like the sword is what's going to work out for him, and already putting Tito into the yellow onto his final stock. Tito on the guitars here, looking for the edge guard to close it out. The ground pound isn't quite able to land, but a nice gravity cancel down signature to catch heissen coming up from the ledge. And now Tito is ever dangerous on this cannon. Heissen has got to be a little scared internally of Tito landing a big string.
Really surprised that down stage was actually not a ground bounce and rather launched heissen just directly off stage. Tito going for the 4 consecutive neutral airs, getting that damage build up on the heissen, and of course that damage coming out real big. And there's the dodge timing, not able to find the continuation of the punish with the ground pound coming out, punishing heissen just a little bit more, and still not finding the KOs. The side air coming out, turnaround. Neutral sig almost finding Tito, but the dodge through is going to allow him to live just a little bit longer. The neutral air is coming out still from Tito, and looking for the side air finisher onto heissen, not able to find it there. The neutral air not able to finish it off as well. The down sig's coming out. Heissen stuck on the wall for the time being, and Tito has the opportunity to control this finish right now as he can just find something big. But heissen making his way across, able to find a weapon throw approach on Tito, giving him a little bit more room to work with. And Tito not able to find a KO right now, but proving me wrong. The neutral sig coming out. Tito finding another one. Game
and
number
here
2.
it is. Tito, I had no clue who he was before this tournament. I had never heard his name before. I'm sure EU players have before, because this guy is just tearing it up right now. He is only 1 game away from making it into the winners finals versus Machete, I'm sure Heissen is thinking mentally that he has to switch something up right now. It was working for him a little bit on the sword there, but not quite on the guitars. I'm almost wondering if he has a different sword character in his back pocket to switch to, something like the Hattori that we saw coming out from 2D as a counterpick to Cannon earlier. I'm not sure if he has anything like that, though.
Whoa.
And he's just going to bring it back to prime Heissen with this Diana. This is, I mean, I'm not incorrect in saying that Heissen is Draxu, right? I'm a little misinformed, perhaps, but I hope that I'm correct. Maybe I can get some verification from either Toast or from the chat, but I'm 90% sure that Heissen is Draxu, my bad. And I remember that the first time that I ever saw Draxu was playing Diana. I really hope I'm right on this. All right.
Production
Toast, hit me
confirmation
up.
there that Heissen is Draxu. So this is, I mean,
Draxu's
you
breakout tournament. Draxu's breakout tournament was him making a massive run on this Diana. Now, even post name change, he was looking like a different player with the Asuri. But when your back's against the wall, you always just got to return back to what got you there in the first place. And I respect that so much from Heissen.
I'm actually kind of surprised that we're not seeing more of those gravity cancel sidelight combo extenders that we were seeing yesterday out of our Tito and some of the other guitar players. I felt like we were seeing a lot yesterday, and I don't think we've seen it a single time so far today, which is kind of interesting because it was pretty effective in extending some of those combos and strings, at least in getting some of those reads. Oh, he went for it just now. So I guess I can't say that it wasn't there, but he didn't manage to find that connection that time. But we will see it potentially in the... Wow! Heissen just exploding there with a fantastic blasters combo. And this is kind of what we're expecting out of this. You know, this pick from Heissen, a.k.a. post-Draxu.
Yeah, he's doing the callback. And honestly, I think now is a good of time to go back to Diana as ever, considering the buffs that blasters received. I'm not sure if he's well-versed in those new combos yet, but, you know, if we see him come out, he will be able to respond to Tito's massive damage combos with some massive damage of his own on these blasters, hitting the down air, trying to keep Tito out of his zone with the downlight into Sair, hitting a X-pivoted neutral air. But Tito has him on stage. Tito going for the gravity cancel down signature to close out that combo, but not quite finding it as Heissen went high. Heissen now back onto the stage. Looking for the gravity cancel down signature. Covered those recovery frames with a drop down nair, making sure that Tito wasn't able to get in on him. But right now, choosing the wrong direction for some of those moves, allowing Tito to get more damage on him. Tito needs one or two more good hits in order to close out Heissen's stock. There's going to be the first. Don't make me a liar, Tito. The neutral light is going to hit Heissen off the stage. Heissen is still alive, but has to expend most of his recovery options to get back onto the stage. A nice gravity cancel neutral signature. Get himself back, even though he got hit off by Tito. Wow, that was a clean downlight. It didn't end up mattering, though, as Tito was just able to find the hit to knock it out. And Heissen potentially on his winner's bracket stop here versus Tito. Tito just needs one more combo to put Heissen into the orange, as we know he can do, as we've seen him do many times before in this tournament. Heissen, though, hitting the side signature, not quite KOing Tito, because Heissen picked this Blackguard stage for himself, and those horizontal blast zones are pretty far off from the center of the stage. Maybe turning around on him right there, and Tito landing the nairs. Jeez.
Heissen is really looking for that whip off stage. He wants to find that KO onto Tito, and that's one good way to confirm it if you can land it. But Tito just with the gravity cancel slide and ground pound, finding the KO off of that push-off column, and there we go, just taking it down.
Tito
three games to 0. That's very interesting. I mean, the losers bracket side both went to 5 games, and then winners was completely the opposite, going 2 3-and-out sets. With that, though, we have Machete and Tito in the winners finals. So 2 extremely strong players in this tournament facing off in the winners finals, with Heissen dropping down to face off against Blue in the losers quarters.
And the question coming into today for the winners bracket was, all of these players have looked unstoppable so far. So what's going to happen when unstoppable players meet each other? And it looks Machete and Tito have solidified themselves as the more unstoppable players. as they both just mowed through their winners bracket opponents with double 3-0s. And now what's going to happen when they meet each other in winners finals? Neither of them have fought much resistance so far. So someone's going to have to give the other one a run for their money at some point. At least that's what I'm expecting. But of course, we're not quite going to get to the winners finals yet. For the meantime, we have Addy Mestic versus Ishet in the losers bracket. And Ishet actually starting off with the Zul, which didn't work out very well for him in game 1 versus 2D, but I guess feeling like he wants to go back to it and give it another shot versus Addy Mestic this time, who of course is using his tried and true Petra that has served him pretty well so far throughout this tournament.
Well, either way, getting started right now, Addy Mestic and Ishet getting game number 1 of the losers quarterfinals started right now. Zul versus Petra. We'll see if Addy Mestic can bring back some of that form that we saw yesterday. We didn't quite see it in the start of the winners side bracket when he played his first game, but Ishet already starting out getting a lot of damage with the axe, that huge damage from the Zul pick, and I think he's kind of feeling the same pain that Machete brought to him in that first set as well.
Finding the side light into cider, got Ishet off stage, went for the ground pound. I noticed that Addy, as opposed to other Ord players, actually likes going for the ground pound instead of the down airs there. Ishet actually able to land the bear trap there with the cannon neutral signature, knocking Addy off stage, hitting him with the Sair, not quite dead yet. Oh, but a nice ground pound from Ishet, dodging or able to evade all of Addy's options trying to get back on the stage and punish him for using that neutral air a little too early there.
Well, Ishet already trying to get a little bit more damage out right now, looking for some connections, but Addy Mestic turning things around in terms of damage. Able to find that KO off on the left side and managing to get the perfect, fresh, clean reset here, going into two stocks fresh. And now Ishet is going to be the one to break that damage equality. Can't always have it even. Someone's got to be the winner here, and Ishet is trying to establish himself. Ooh, landing the neutral stick, something that you don't normally see actually land hits, especially in these tournament scenarios.
Yeah, actually hitting him with I think that was down signature, but usually people at least charge it so that 3 of the things come out of the ground, but I don't think I think I very rarely see just one of them hit there.
Just a raw neutral sig coming out of the cannon. Very interesting, and the haymaker charged up as well. Ishet is choosing some interesting signatures to charge up with, and some other ones to not. So it's a kind of interesting. Maybe we'll see another neutral sig come out, but just hits him with the tip of that side air, launching Addy Mestic nearly to the outer rims of the blast zone without dying, and that's going to be a gravity cancel side sig as well, something that we don't see too much of. But there's the Shoryuken, the finisher, coming out straight from Street Fighter.
Honestly, I think Addy's starting to get into the double digits in the amount of KOs that he's found even just on stream with that Shoryuken. It is serving him so faithfully right now. For a weapon that can struggle with finding kills sometimes and focuses more on the damage building and string finding aspect of the game, it's really nice to have signatures like that that can help you find KOs when you can just throw them out whenever your opponent is sitting above you. And a nice read by Addy, finding the sidelight and then finding Ishet's dodge through him and finding the double sideline into recovery, looking for the side sig off stage, but Ishet just narrowly evaded it, finding the nair, went for the chase dodge into recovery, but didn't quite find it. Ishet is now into the danger zone as far as one of Addy's sigs are going to KO, but Ishet not able to find his way back onto the stage. Addy punishing him with the gauntlet ground pound and taking game 1 for Addy Mestic. Ishet, I mean, I was going to say, based on how fast those lock-ins were, I thought it was Zul again, but he actually just instantly knew that he wanted to get onto the Ogrim. I think that's a wise decision. It's what's been doing him good for the entire tournament. You know, always good to get some experience on those newer characters. But when it's crunch time, I think you should go back to what you're comfortable with. And Ishet has definitely been looking comfortable on this Ogrim the entire tournament. Already got Addy stuck into the air with these nairs.
Yeah, for sure, and this is something that, especially with these nairs, the coverage, a different mindset that comes along with this, I think we're going to be seeing a very different Ishet, or maybe a very familiar one that will be what we've been seeing throughout the tournament so far, and looking for some more of these attacks. Addy Mestic still going for the Shoryukens, of course, getting a lot of damage, a lot of mileage out of those for sure, and Addy Mestic getting a nice spot dodge turnaround forcing ishet off stage with that recovery, able to give him a little bit more room to work with as he comes back into the mix.
Ooh, a nice axe recovery, actually bouncing Addy off of the ground of Miami Dome and off to the side. A nice KO from ishet. And now this is when ishet is most dangerous, when he takes his first stock off his opponent and he has the lance in his hands. We've seen him find so much damage in this situation. Just finding the down air so far. Addy's been doing a great job of keeping ishet off the stage. ishet barely finding the recovery to get back onto the stage. Addy going for the just raw haymaker, and it's not working out for him. Now he's stuck off stage. Nice job weaving around ishet's options, though. Able to make it back onto the stage, but ishet is finding so much damage out of Addy, and that lands ground pound might close it out because Addy used the dodge to go for that gravity cancel neutral signature. A little bit of greed from him, perhaps getting a little bit impatient with not being able to close out ishet's stock, and ishet punishing perfectly. ishet now, even though he got knocked out by Addy's orbs there, with a full stock lead over Addy Mestic on this Ulgrim, looking so much better for him than the Zol. A great sidelight down air into gravity cancel sidelight into Sair. A 4-hit string, which you very rarely see Lance players get.
For sure, and now ishet getting a lot more damage on the ground right now. Was the place where Lance excels, and Addy Mestic trying to get a little bit of disruption here, throwing out that neutral sig, but not able to connect it, and now just playing around the map, trying to keep the aerial zones in tow, throwing ishet off to the side, and the neutral light, it just trades back and forth. Getting caught off stage. No sharking on this map, and he's got to be careful. Losing the lance and just barely avoiding the recovery. This is Addy Mestic looking for some kind of KO. Not able to find it, though, as the turnaround from ishet, finding that side light to side air, just eliminating that last stock from Addy Mestic and pushing it into a tied set 1-1.
ishet's Ulgrim is completely unlike any other character that ishet plays, and completely unlike any other Ulgrim that I've ever seen play this game. He looks so commanding versus a player like Addy Mestic's caliber, who made it all the way through into the winner's bracket, all the way to winner's semis. Maybe Addy lost a little bit. I mean, I was going to say maybe he lost a little bit of momentum from that winner's set, but he did already take game one. This is just ishet with a great response, keeping a strong mental game, able to respond with that second game. And now into the third game, going on to the Enigma, has been a counterpick that Addy has liked to go to many times before in this tournament. Already landing the gauntlet side signature.
ishet trying to get his way back on the stage, exhausted, just managing to make his way back with the side air, with the lance being one of those few weapons that has those opportunities to get back to stage without having to use recovery options all the time. Addy Mestic, though, throwing out that Shoryuken, trying to find more hit confirmations. Another one coming out from Addy Mestic, and a third just keeps looking for it, but ishet finding the punish options now. Maybe getting used to the fact that Addy Mestic keeps throwing those out there.
Yeah, and pretty much unlike any of the other players that Addy has run into this tournament, most players, even Machete, were struggling with dealing with that gauntlet neutral sig. And so, since Addy hasn't gotten punished for it yet, he hasn't adjusted his gameplay or had to yet. But ishet finding another lance side signature. That signature, I didn't even think it was that good, but ishet just finds a way to use it at all of the perfect moments to find KOs very early. And landing that sidelight down air, looking for the neutral light follow-up, not quite able to find it, but already applying so much damage onto Addy Mestic, and Addy is going to have to find this kill soon, but he just keeps throwing out this Shoryuken, and it's not working for him anymore. He's going to have to find a different way to find these KOs onto ishet.
He's got to force different mix-ups, and he keeps trying to use a Shoryuken. And you know what? There's a good reason for it. It has been working for him for quite a while, but this matchup, against ishet, he is not able to find the same success out of that move that he used to. And now Addy Mestic finding that KO, the side air from the orb, finding that KO on ishet is going to put it into even stocks now. But Addy Mestic still has to find the damage equalizer here, because he is just about at that red zone, that kill potential.
Yeah, ishet landing the side light, but not true into the Sair. Addy, good job dodging out quickly. Addy now looking to get over to that weapon to find it, but ishet knows, and he is guarding it as faithfully as he can. Addy, nice job not getting hit by the side sig from ishet and able to grab the weapon for himself, but he actually threw it away. Maybe feeling like that wasn't the weapon that he wanted and he wants the other weapon, but it doesn't really feel like he has the choice of which weapon to go with this time. He is able to stall long enough for those gauntlets to come in, though. But they're already gone now because ishet was able to hit the side air, so now Addy going to be back on the orb. Landing the
just
side light
wakes
into
up
side
right
air.
into the damage.
Yeah, that
though.
was so fast. Most players like to use their invincibility to kind of stall out the game, maybe use a little bit of time to think, mentally prepare themselves for the upcoming stock, but Addy just hopped right into it with the instant side light into side air, catching ishet off guard. But now ishet landing the side light into down air.
Addy Messick in a dangerous position, though, almost taking so many large hits from Machete. Almost
Ishet
finding the
went
KO,
so
but not
low.
able to find it. This short Yukon off the top, finally finding a connection there after so long. And getting that KO off the top is exactly what Addy Messick was looking for in terms of equalizing the set just a little bit, but still needing to find a little bit more damage onto Ishet. That lance being a very hard hill for him to climb over, and Ishet still finding damage, still forcing Addy Messick off stage. Exhausted, can't find a way back on the stage, just barely does, avoiding that down light from Ishet. Oh, recovery off the top, takes him coast to coast and lifts him up off the ground and pops him into the sky. A very low blast zone over the top of Small Enigma, and that's exactly what Addy Messick needed to take that game down at the last second.
Apocalypse!
Wait,
We
got
got
to see it again.
I wasn't even talking during that last section of that game because I didn't think that the KO was even close to coming in. And then Addy just hit 2 nairs in a row and went for the recovery, which very few orb players you'll actually see go for the recovery follow-up because it's so unreliable. And kind of a little hard to control. You'll mostly just see them drop back down onto the stage and keep going for nair juggles, but Addy just went for it, and I don't think Ishet was prepared for that amount of aggressiveness from Addy. But now, going into
I don't think anyone
Apocalypse,
was, considering our reactions as well.
Yeah, Apocalypse, the brand new stage added to the tournament rank pool. I believe this is the second time we've seen it today. Ishet going for the ground.
Addy Messick with the
Addy.
explosive turnaround off stage, taking Ishet off of the overextension from Ishet, going for that ground pound, just taking the perfect opportunistic play sequence there. The conversion from Addy Messick was absolutely perfect there. Oh my gosh!
That was absolutely crazy from Addy. Ishet went for the ground pound that he's gone for so many times, but he has never gotten punished for it, and especially not like that. Addy just hit 3 perfect hits. That's all you really need versus Lance, because Lance's recovery has to use some charge up time, and Addy punished that perfectly with the weapon throw so that Ishet was not able to recover. And now Addy has himself a nice little lead on these gauntlets, hitting the neutral light, got Ishet knocked off stage, looking for the ground pound, but Ishet actually just finds his way back onto the stage very quickly with a gravity, not with a gravity cancel, with an X pivot, neutral light, and already just finding so much response damage onto Addy. Addy had a lead, but Ishet just dissolves leads so fast with how much damage he puts with this lance. Addy has him off stage now, though.
Yeah, the opportunity, he went for the high read, going for the side air, but rather Ishet taking the direct approach to the wall. Addy Messick could have benefited a bit from the ground pound in that moment, but going for the double down air is going to find the KO, and that is going to be another one on the belt of Addy Messick here against Ishet, and Addy Messick finding so much more success in this game overall, doing such a fantastic job at putting the pressure on Ishet. So many neutral airs too.
Yeah, geez. Ishet landing the side lightning to Sarah, the bread and butter lance combo, looking for the side signature, really wanted to close out this stock right now, but Addy smartly going high and evading it. Addy, nice Shoryuken, and the ground pound, that might be it. One more hit! He did the ground cancel reverse punch! The haymaker, that's looking like freaking Velocity Brian out here. Didn't quite close out the stock, but it did look cool as heck.
You couldn't find a more charismatic sequence of attacks in that moment if you tried.
Addy just needs one more hit. Ishet is going to need to come a long way if he wants to be able to keep himself alive. Addy only needs one more hit to move himself on in this bracket and knock Ishet out after Ishet's long tournament run. Addy probably going to be looking for the Shoryuken here, as it has served him so well over this tournament so far. And there it is. The nair chase dodge across the ground, following how Ishet was dodging through the air and closing out the set. Addy Messick 3-1, saying that winner's bracket set versus Machete didn't put him down too far, and he is still very much so ready to play, moving himself into the top 4.
What a fan. I gotta say, I really love Addy Mestic's use of the neutral air on Andre's opponents to follow up with the Shoryuken, because it puts it into a very similar situation that you see when Gauntlet players typically go for the side air gravity cancel, or side light gravity cancel side light, when they have to wait for the dodge movement. Using that neutral air to bounce your opponent off the ground to find which way that they're going to be dodging away. You can get that Shoryuken timing in a very similar manner to that side light, gravity cancel side light. And it's something I think is really cool that he was taking use of right there, especially at the end.
Yeah, Petra's neutral signature is basically just better gauntlet recovery in like every way. And that's the way that Addy has been using it at the very least. But
Just
now we
better
have Heissen versus Blue. Oh no, we're doing it again. We're doing it again.
Well, before we address the random in the room, would you? Oh, I was about to say.
No. We have to address this right now. I see a Sir Roland and a Zariel. Oh no.
I was going to say, is Petra's Shoryuken is just a better version of Zariel's neutral sig on gauntlets, and of course we see a Zariel. Right as it's on the tip of my tongue to say that Zariel's gauntlet neutral sig. Oh my gosh, what is this?
So before, when we had double random, the picks were semi-standard. You had a Mordex in there. Mordex is a classic character. You had a Jiro in there. We've seen Jiro in tournament before.
Especially
but a
for Blue.
Zariel and a Sir Roland. I don't think I've seen Sir Roland in tournament since Zaloxa replayed the game. and that's saying something, because that dude quit the game like 3 years ago.
I don't know.
Whereas,
I think we've seen other I'm pretty sure we've seen other Rolands. Oh my god! Heissen!
Heissen is insane!
Oh my god!
Heissen is actually insane.
He just neutral sigged into a side sig, catching Blue right out. What the heck is this? Heissen with the signature moves coming out of Zariel. You can't say they're not that good. I know a lot of people would argue that Zariel is probably not one of the characters that people would pick out like consistently or at all in most cases, but hey, it's seeming to work for him right here. And Blue with the lance is going to have to use that to, I guess, not really counter, but just try to outrange the gauntlets. But the bow is going to allow Heissen to turn things around a little bit.
God.
Blue doing a pretty solid job on that lance, though. No ifs, ands, or buffs there.
Yeah, Blue, I mean, he's looking like he's no stranger to lance right now. Maybe dabbled in it for at least a little bit of time, as I think most Brawlhalla high-tier players have done. You know, played at least one character with each weapon, so they're semi-familiar with it. Of course, in preparation for the double random match.
I mean, you got to be warmed up on all the weapons if you're playing random. You have to be prepared. Heissen now. Oh, with the side sig, the force. I mean, if there wasn't a platform there, that would have been so much more successful. That platform bounce,
wow.
50% velocity reduction, just killed that. But Heissen didn't relent. He had that edge guard in tow and was just so on point with it. And now Heissen doing so good with the gauntlets, with the Zariel pick of all things.
Honestly, I think Heissen should look into picking up Zariel as a legitimate character, because Heissen already plays bow, and his bow on Zariel is looking just as clean as any of his other bow legends. And surprisingly, even though I haven't seen Heissen play any gauntlets in the past, his gauntlets don't look bad.
The gauntlets definitely don't look bad, and honestly, Zariel's gauntlets, I would argue, are actually pretty decent. Perhaps. Yeah. I don't know. I've been trying to play Zariel a little bit lately because I don't see it too much, but this is yeah, you know, I'm digging it a lot more. Oh wait, but he had the bow. If he had a dodge there, the side sig has so much ground to cover on that bow. He probably, I don't know if he was thinking about it at the time, but you can sort of use that to recover if you're coming back horizontally.
All right, Blue grabbing himself the sword. I respect it. It's one of Blue's most played weapons, so even in random, he can stick to somewhat what he knows. Nice usage of the down signature as a follow-up to neutral light. Now doing a gravity cancel neutral light. Heissen just walking up and doing that side sig though.
He just walked up and did it. I mean, he just did it. He just walked up. Heissen with a neutral light though, coming out. Perhaps you're going to be seeing more. I mean, I would actually be beside myself if we see Heissen use a down sig on bow where he just does like the triple shot down. It's pretty bad. If he does manage to find to use that and find like a hit, I would be so surprised. But this is where things kind of slow down because Blue doesn't want to lose this.
Yeah, even though they're picking double random, neither player wants to go down one game in the set for sure. I mean, like, I don't know. When you're picking double random, you're kind of chancing the first game of the set on your character selection. And I think both players got a character in which they have at least one comfortable weapon. Blue knocking Heissen off stage, though, with a side light now. Looking at the down signature, that actually caught Heissen's dodge, and that is going to be Blue taking game one of the random ditto, coming out on top. This time, the random ditto actually going much better for him than in the past.
I mean, hey, it was definitely more interesting this time considering the picks. Zariel, someone you never see, and Roland, someone we haven't seen in like at least a year. I mean, I'm pretty sure someone other than Zaloxry has played it.
Well, whether it's
Cosmolix
or Remy or something. I just said that because I feel like Roland is like, if you're seeing a player use Roland, it's not because they play Roland, it's because it's some sort of counter pick. Oh baby, we got another Apocalypse game and another Roland, this time for Heissen. Both players, as opposed to the Blue and Simple set, actually did opt for double random again. Blue getting yet another sword character with this Hattori this time, using a skin that's not that bad, but Hattori has much better skins than this.
Heissen doing a pretty good job at starting things off. Blue playing the spear, and we know he's got. I think we've seen him play Hattori in the past. I mean, I don't remember how his spear was if he had, but of course we know he's got the sword. He's got the Surrey pick, and everyone I believe has a sword. I don't care what region you're in, you have a sword because it's the bread and butter. Everyone starts off playing it.
Mm-hmm.
So
kind of the flagship weapon.
Yeah, I mean, whether you start playing Bodvar or Hattori, I mean that's where most everyone starts their Brawlhalla play career, so to speak. Anyway, Heissen now with the sword this time and playing that edge guard game. Blue with the side air, though, getting a little bit of reach over Heissen with the side airs, and Blue doing a good job at kind of reading the approaches from Heissen, although that ground pound leaves something to be desired there as Heissen just takes him to town in a 4-hit connection.
Yeah, Heissen definitely sticking more to the sword so far. Let's see what his lance can do here. Looks for the dash sidelight, but Blue is just prepared to answer with the sword classic. I've said it many times. Gravity cancel downlight into recovery whenever your opponent is in high damage is just the pure sword classic that every sword player will look for. Nice execution on that downlight to gravity cancel and neutral signature. The optimal combos coming out from Heissen, neutralizing the game. Blue without a weapon right now. Heissen weapon guarding him. Keeping the sword for himself. Is he going to throw it again? Yes, he is. Take the lance. Blue just unable to find a weapon right now, and Heissen punishing him with some damage while he is unarmed. Blue now able to find a sword for himself now, and instantly responding with damage as soon as he finds this weapon.
Good gravity cancel follow-ups as well to find some damage floating. Heissen going for the double neutral light is a little bit of a retaliation. Blue dashing straight across the stage in a bit of his own. It's just knocking back and forth, just trading blows, a volley of attacks, so to speak. And Heissen now trading blows, and it's going to be a sword fight to the finish as both of these players are looking for a little bit of success here. Neutral air not going to connect it. Blue looks for his own downlight, and now neutral light pushing Heissen, and the neutral sig not going to find the read hit as Heissen goes for his own. No connection as well. Weapon throw is going to follow up with Heissen going for the neutral airs, the recoveries. Blue trying to just push him away a little bit. The spear coming out, not going to find the hit. And Heissen with the neutral air number 2. No connection, no finisher. Blue still alive, and there we go. It's going to be off the platform. Downlight nair off the top for that KO. Surprise Heissen didn't just try to confirm it with a recovery, but I guess we all know that recovery can be a little finicky every once in a while.
Yeah, it could have dropped. The nair seemed to be the safer option there. Heissen knowing that it would kill. Heissen's Roland is looking great so far. And even as Blue lands that ground pound and throws out the Russian dance taunt, I'm surprised that Blue doesn't look a little more well-versed in the Hattori, considering that his breakout performance as a player was actually on Kaya, so he definitely knows how to play spear, and we've seen him play plenty of swords since then. But as I say that, now his spear is starting to look like the spear that we knew long ago from Blue. Hasn't played it for a while, but he seems to be mentally remembering how to play this now, and especially into Lance. It's good at catching Lance out in the air, and Blue is just building up so much damage with this spear now. Already has Heissen into the kill percent.
Oh my gosh.
The reverse downlights there, and Jesus. Okay, Blue, I get it. You heard me say that your spear wasn't looking up to snuff, and you instantly just came out with those kind of combos. Blue going up 2-0 in the random dittos, and if I'm correct, Heissen and Blue both locked in random yet again. So Heissen, shout out to Heissen. He is committed to this. He believes in himself and his ability to play random, and he's being a true
hurry.
homie for Blue right now.
All right, hurry, quick. Guess what are
Apocalypse.
they? What are their?
Apocalypse.
I was gonna say characters, but anyway, we're gonna get Blue on Diana and Heissen on Ragnar. So 2 pretty solid picks, honestly. And I think these are 2 characters that I think both of these players at least have some familiarity with. Ragnar for sure, because like we were saying yesterday, everyone's pretty much got a Ragnar. You can't really go wrong playing that character.
And if these legends were swapped, dude, this would be a legitimate match, because Blue has played Ragnar in 2v2s before, and
I mean, we all know. We were talking about
definitely plays Diana.
We were talking about Heissen, the post Draxu, previous Diana picks that he used to do, and now, but it's kind of in the reverse situation, so it's kind of interesting. That's the fun randomness of the situation. Heissen though, looking for the. He's just trying to figure out what to do with these guitars right now, I feel like.
Yeah. This is shaping up to be a slow one, because both player kind of doesn't want to overcommit to anything since they're not as comfortable on these characters. But they're also...
Is he though? Because he's got the Goldforge skin or the Goldforge colors. I guess that's just a color palette. It's not specifically for the characters. I don't know. Maybe I was thinking that's weapons. Either way, Blue's gonna catch him. The double down.
That neutral signature with guns feels so good to hit, and I'm not sure if Blue has ever experienced how good it feels to hit, because I legitimately am unsure if Blue has ever played this character. I mean, well, I guess he is using black on Diana, so he's played at least a little bit of it. But I don't know if that's in recent history or not, considering he's been sticking to mostly sword characters recently. Oh my, wait, that gravity cancel neutral signature on Bo is actually perfect to interrupt Heissen's signature. Oh no! The gravity cancel neutral signature. Oh, he has Heissen off stage now.
That was the perfect angle of knockback from Blue's neutral sig to launch Heissen down, because there was only one way he could go. If he tried to make his way back up to the wall from that side of the stage, he was dead 100% of the time. So he had to shark and get back to the other side. There's the recovery, and he's finally going to find that first stock off of Blue. Not too little too late as well, because he still has a little bit of room to work with, and he can try to get a little bit of damage here onto Blue. Blue trying to play an unarmed game and just shift the attention off of the direction that he was going for that weapon at the time. Can he get back? No, too far down in the deeps. And that is going to be Blue doing a little bit of a Russian dance on him, and a little bit of a stutter step as well, trying to get a little bit of a...
Yeah, Blue just one stock away of being the random Ditto champion right now versus Heissen, looking poised for a 3-0 right here on 3 different characters. Got the Roland, got the Diana, and got whoever the heck he played in game 2. I somehow already forgot.
It's the random mental state.
He's been looking strong on everyone though.
Exactly.
I mean, when you have a player as strong as Blue, he can pretty likely play anything in the game. I don't know what these side airs are on guns. I'm not too sure what's actually happening right now. He's kind of just trying to zone Heissen out with these side air and down air hitboxes. He's playing a very patient neutral game, and Heissen isn't really sure how to counteract it. Blue is playing so weird. I don't actually even think that he's like doing this to troll.
This is like some Jackie Chan really drunken master mental state coming out of Blue right now, where he's just doing some like gold level movements and plays, and Heissen has absolutely no idea how to counter this.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to try to when you're reading your opponent, assuming that they're gonna play like a high level player, and then he just stops moving. It's so confusing.
What in the world is going on? Just a reverse slide charge side sig.
And that's a 3-0 from Blue in the random Dittos, asserting his dominance as the greatest random player potentially in all of Europe. Heissen, mad respect for not switching to his main and being willing to challenge Blue in all 3 games playing the random Dittos. He definitely put up a good fight, not as much so in game 3, but definitely in games 1 and 2. We're both close. So good stuff to both the players.
I mean, it was... You can't say it wasn't interesting, because it certainly was. Either way, we're going to see Blue and Addy Mestic face off against each other now, and I think this is where we're going to see a stop, unfortunately for some, for the random picks. But you never know. He might do it. He might still do it. We know Addy Mestic is going to go the Petra route. He is going to play it. When he picks a legend, he sticks with it. he's going to play it for the entire tournament. I don't think we're going to see a swap unless he gets beat so bad that he decides to go back to Val. And that's like,
I couldn't even see that happening, honestly.
If he gets beat that bad, you call it the time machine because you wouldn't believe it otherwise.
Like, after what Machete did to him, honestly, I don't think there's any way that Eddie switches back to Val. And I think, you know, as much money is on this tournament, a lot of players like to use the 2-day tournaments where there are a lot of best of fives to learn how to play their characters a little better. And I think obviously the Petra for Addy is only level 15, being given how new the character is. And I think no matter what, he's going to end up using this tournament as a way to learn Petra, learn her limits, and kind of learn what he can do on the character. And oh my god, we are so blessed with all these Apocalypse games, I swear to god. We do got Blue selecting the Lin Fei. He's done with the random. He says since Addy is picking his character, he is gonna too. And we actually have a much more serious match coming out from these two this time in the losers semifinals, which determines who gets 4th place and who gets to move on in the bracket to face whoever the loser of the winners finals is between Machete and Tito.
I think this is something a lot of EU players and some of the production staff were kind of worried about or talking about in some capacity, where Blue was probably going to make this entire lower bracket run all the way back to grand finals, and he seems to be starting that already in some form or fashion in terms of the random matchups to start. But now going against Addy Messick in the semifinals, he's only one game away from that losers finals. Potentially, if he could take Addy Messick down right here, and he's already getting so much damage on to Addy Messick. This cannon from Lin Fei, such a dangerous, oh my gosh, the down stick coming out, just completely stuffing Addy Messick out on that right side. And that's a first stock in a very decisive fashion after he got his footing with the cannon.
Yeah, Lin Fei famously known for having quote-unquote light attack signatures. Both the downs... Oh, give me a sec. Blues combos. Blues guitar combos. He already has Addy into the orange. But Lin Fei, famously, her neutral signature and down signature, both having about as many recovery frames as your average light attack. Very usable in situations like Blue was able to find that KO on Addy Messick. And now he already has Addy, like, virtually in kill percent again. We could potentially even see a neutral signature on the guitars, I was going to say, but Addy actually gravity canceling that neutral signature of his own, and now shutting off Blue's recovery options with a side air, looking for another one, but Cannon is so strong at recovering, only to able to find a recovery that is not quite going to kill. Finding the side lane and looking for the read, but wasn't able to read Blue's movement out of that. This is going to be a pivotal stock based on who finds it first. Blue, expecting Addy to read for his dodge, didn't dodge at all, but Addy guessed the 50-50 correctly and just went straight up for the recovery, able to find himself the stock, and now going to have to find a lot of damage right now before he loses his own stock if he wants to get himself back into this game.
Well, already getting back into it. Blue trying to find that KO. Addy Messick caught without a weapon, and all it's going to take is a neutral sig, really, from Lin Fei's cannon. And if Blue just throws one out there, he's looking for the side lights. But I don't know. Addy Messick keeps floating around. He finally finds it with a neutral air off the top. But I honestly think he could have just thrown out a neutral sig. It's about as fast as a light attack anyway, so he could have just thrown that out there, caught Addy Messick jumping around, and had it much quicker with a lot more force. But either way, this is how he decided to take it down, because I guess there are the punishing the recovery frames in the end as a sig. But Addy Messick trying to make his approach with the orb, the down air coming out, the side air's coming out, but Blue completely just putting the hurt on Addy Messick and making it hard for him to get anything going with this orb.
Yeah, Blue's Lin Fei is just looking so strong right now. Whenever you take a top-tier player and give them a top-tier character, it is something scary. But that was actually a great down air from Addy to almost punish Blue's missed attack. It didn't quite kill, but now Addy has Blue on the ropes of his stock. Looking for the side signature, didn't quite land. Landing the downlight into side air, which is something that you don't often hear me say when commentating gauntlets, but it is a combo that works if they don't have a dodge.
And Blue with the guitars right now, trying to get a little bit more damage in, trying to find the KO on Addy Messick, throwing out that down save with the side air coming out from Addy Messick from that side light side air combo. is going to give Addy Messick just a little bit more room to work with as he tries to take this last stock off of Blue. And now Addy Messick making the approach, just avoiding that down sig and getting a little bit more damage. The side air counterattack coming out from Blue and not going to find the finisher. No weapon throw connection there is going to let Addy Messick live a little bit longer. And Addy Messick holding the low ground, but is going to get slapped so damaged that he is not going to be able to make his way back, which was really surprising. I didn't think he would go all the way out without being able to recover in any capacity.
Yeah, a nice game one coming out from Blue. Going up 1-0 with this Lin Fei. You know, I have never seen Blue play Lin Fei before this tournament. I don't even think he planned on playing this character coming into the tournament, but after seeing all of the Lin Feis on day one, he just said, screw it. I'm going to learn this character right now because she is very strong and she fits my play style. And he's already looking great on the legend pick.
Well, getting things started right now. Blue's getting that first hit off and the second. See if he continues it, taking almost no damage, and see how long that lasts. Addy Messick not managing to find that downlight. And Blue getting still a little bit more damage. No more perfect stock anymore as Addy Messick does get a very nice retaliation hit and going deep, deep, deep off the side. Not able to find the ground pound on the Blue, making it back, but a little bit of offstage play coming down. Blue with the double recovery, getting a little bit more damage off onto Addy Messick, and Addy Messick not throwing out any signatures, being very reserved with these signatures until that moment where he just threw out that side one. So
I guarantee
he decides to throw more out.
I guarantee that Blue had a moment right there when he had the Katars and had Addy off stage that he was thinking about gravity cancel neutral signing and then realized that he wasn't a Suri. Considering how much time he spends playing a Suri on these Katars, he's looking so comfortable on them right now. Hits Addy with like cannon side air and just chucks a bomb at him with that cannon. The sound the cannon makes when it hits someone with a weapon throw is so painful. Like I can actually just imagine Addy flinching in his chair after getting hit by that one, because I would. Man, nice combos coming out from Blue's cannon right now.
Very
He's
nice
building up
dodge reads
so
from
much
Blue.
damage.
It's huge damage buildup from Blue from those conversions, and Addy Messick trying to get a little bit of retaliation. He's going off stage looking for a single stock off of Blue, but is having so much trouble doing so. And now coming off the bottom of the stage, not able to get that downlight off. You saw he was trying to get that out there, but the side air just knocking Addy Messick too far away, and that second stock is looking very dangerous. Looking for this down sig, not able to connect it as Blue just moved a little bit too far forward for that move to hit, and now Addy Messick looks for a little bit of something, but it isn't able to find a single thing, and no kill options to take Blue's first stock out. And Blue is looking at a potential to get a 3 stock against Addy Messick right now, and the Addy Messick really has to bring this back. He has to play this perfectly, because otherwise he's not going to be able to survive.
Was that a Sair into chase dodge recovery conversion on Katars? I have actually never seen that in my life. Ooh, Addy landing with the weapon throw. Looking, he just cannot find the one hit that he needs to close this game out. And I think Blue is punishing perfectly on how desperate Addy is having to be at this point. Addy, though, finding the Sair, closing it out. But at this point, he has to play absolutely perfectly if he wants to make a comeback versus Blue on this, especially considering how much damage Blue can deal off of just one opening with this cannon. Right now, looking for the hit. The N-Sig just narrowly whiffing from Blue. Addy hitting the neutral light, but Blue doing a wake-up cannon down air to stop any sort of follow-up that Addy was looking for.
Ooh, Spirit Bomb with a hit confirmation, too. That's surprising. And then following up with the neutral sig. This is the kind of sigs that we need to see a little bit more of, because they have that range, that mix-up potential. But Blue is going to take advantage of some situations there and just find a KO off the top. Just
Jeez,
pretty simply just off the top with the recovery. And that is just Blue's domination on this Lin Fei, just carrying him for miles.
Blue is just like a computer. Every single game that he plays on this Lin Fei, he looks better. Every single game that he plays against Addy Messick, it feels like he gets even more of a read on Addy. And Addy, for the first time in the tournament, swapping off of the Petra. I think that's a wise choice. I don't think it was working for him at all at this point. And swapping over to the Thor, which Addy has spent a lot of time playing before this tournament. Plays primarily Thor in 2s with Cake, and has shown himself to be very good on this character before.
And of course, he's playing the Heat Wave Thor, and oh my gosh, those floaties are not saving him any amount of damage. And Addy Messick, can he get back?
He's
No,
dead.
that's Blue getting Oh, he tried with the neutral sig. If he used it maybe a little bit sooner, he could have avoided the ground pound coming out from Blue. But oh my gosh, this is just absolute domination. And Blue already getting started into another combo onto Addy Mestic. Addy Mestic just having absolutely zero recourse for damage onto Blue. Just the domination from this cannon, just completely absurd.
Yeah, that first KO happened in 20 seconds. We're not even a minute into the game yet, and Addy's already on his second stock in the orange. Nice side signature, though, to kind of neutralize the pace of the game here. He now has Blue on the edge, trying to edge guard him with Hammer, but Blue just having no fear, hopping right back onto the stage and hitting Addy with a side line into down light. Not able to find any conversion off of it. Now Addy looking to close out this first stock as soon as possible. Blue landing the cannon there, has Addy off stage, going for the down signature, which is pretty much always what you want to do on Lin Fei there to counter your opponent's recovery. Landing the nice recovery and then a nair to follow up. Only needs one or two more hits versus Addy. A nice cannon weapon throw, and that's pretty much going to be it, provided that Blue can find the option, but he can't. Addy nicely weaves his way through Blue's edge guard opportunity. Blue hits another recovery, and somehow it does not kill. Addy's still living on this Thor with that extra defense, but it doesn't matter because Blue finds the neutral light and follows up with the recovery. It is looking dire for Addy right now. Blue is looking amazing on this Lin Fei, and Addy just has no sort of response. The Thor is not doing him any favors on this one.
Well, sometimes you have to take a chance with those alternate picks, those pocket picks, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And Addy Messi, he had to take a risk with the orb pick here because some of those sigs that Thor brings to the table, the hammer plays, the vertical nature of the anti-edge guard and the edge guard plays that he can bring to the table, give him some of these options to deal with some of this offstage. But at the same time, just Blue is just so incredibly dominant with the cannon. And finally, Addy Messi takes that first stock off of Blue. And this is 2 games in a row where he's having trouble with this. Oh, and Blue trying to go drunken master mode again, and it is not quite working the same way. Addy Mestic, I think not quite sure now how to deal with it, but Blue,
I have no.
It's one of those really it's really one of those I mean, it's some of those really unusual situations where when we're spectating, we don't actually see when someone gets DC'd. So sometimes you think, wait, is that a bot? And then they start turning back on again, and like this is just Blue. I don't know if it's necessarily trolling or
it's pure disrespect. It's actually just pure disrespect. Blue is playing. Has been saying that he is so much just through his gameplay. He has been saying, I am so much better than every other player with me in this lower bracket, and I can just do whatever I want. I should not be in the lower bracket. And he says that once again by securing a 3-0 over Addy Mestic in commanding fashion, moving into the top 3 along with Tito and Machete. And I believe from this point on, we are going to take a 5-minute break before getting into the top 3. Of course, we have now solidified that, as I said, as Tito, Machete, and Blue all rocking the cannon. Cannon seeming to be the flavor of the tournament, as you said, in EU right now. And all of the players are looking incredibly proficient on it.
Well, that being said, the next games that we will be seeing is the top 3 coming up in just a moment. Tito and Machete getting that kicked off after a quick break. So stay tuned. Get up, get your snacks, get your exercise, whatever you need to get ready for the beginning of the end. See you back in just a few minutes.
What's up, everyone? Our new legend Petra has been set free from Terminus in patch 3.45. Having been set free from Terminus, Petra sets her eyes on Brawlhalla with her orb, gauntlets, and dark heart powers. Petra is a new playable legend and will be joining the roster permanently. Petra enters with 3 new skins. Dark Heart Petra. The darkness tried to take over, but now she's in control. Lost World Petra. Feel the primal rage. Source Code Petra. She'll hack your heart into pieces. For those those in the pursuit for glory, just a kind reminder that the new Ranked Season 13 will start on July 3rd. We have redesigned and updated our daily missions to be more engaging and customizable for players. You can now hold up to 3 missions at a time and replace up to 1 mission per day. A few other notes about the updated daily missions. You will receive 1 new mission a day, but cannot receive a new one while you have 3 unfinished ones. You can also progress toward all 3 missions simultaneously. And new missions include earning KOs with specific weapons, gadget KOs, landing gravity cancel hits, and much more. Localization is now available for Switch players. The game will automatically detect the language setting on your system. You can set your language from the home menu by going to System Settings, System, and then Language. Available languages include Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, Traditional Chinese, Simplified Chinese, French, German, Italian, Japanese, and Korean. We also appreciate and thank the community for their continued help on improving our language options. This week, we've updated the Brawl of the Week to Kung Foot. High-five your partner and get ready to compete Rayman style. In Kung Foot, anything goes as you kick, bash, and slash the ball through the opposing team's goal in this 2v2 game mode. First team to score 5 goals wins. We've updated our test features, like adding a new free-for-all map to the experimental cube called Circus. We've also graduated the test feature where the damage meters do not change orders in stock game modes, updated the axe down air and axe ground pound and test features, and tweaked duplex arena's geometry at the bottom of the stage. Check out these updated features and let us know how it feels. Additionally, we've made some game improvements in animation and art, and fixed a few bugs in UI and UX, like where community colors would sometimes fail to appear as a valid team color in matchmaking lobbies when both players own them. This week's legend rotation includes Val, Zariel, Queen Nai, Scarlet, Asuri, Taros, Mordex, and Isaiah. Thanks for watching and enjoy the new legend, Petra. To see the complete patch notes, visit us at Brawlhalla.com.
Come on. Oh, no! Again?
Yeah, that's what you get when you take on the Brawlhalla Master.
These things are whack! 1v1 me, bro. For real!
Yeah, I'll toast your buns again, sure. Want to choose a different character?
Yeah! I choose me!
Whoa.
Yeah! Woohoo! Brawlhalla!
Oh, my burrito. Whoa, it's those guys from the game.
What time is it?
Adventure time! Love that bacon hammer.
All I do is win. Got him!
Go for it, PB.
Uh-huh, Princess Bubblegum gonna show you up. Homies help homies.
This place has everything. Ah, did somebody order a combo?
Yeah! Woo! Mathematical! 25 million players!
Dude, that's almost 25.5 million.
Oh, snap! Look out!
Baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Brawlhalla? Brawlhalla?
No, man! Brawlhalla!
Oh. Hey, welcome to Brawlhalla.
This game is...
Welcome back, everybody, to the Super Summer Slayem EU 1v1 Top 3. So these are going to be the final 3 contestants still alive in the tournament, vying for that top spot. Sometimes it just comes out. But sometimes some of these players come out on top, and that's what we're going to be looking for here today. The finalists, the winners finals, the losers finals, all coming together in a way to take this tournament down. What do you think of this so far?
So I was going to say that I was just looking back at brackets, and Machete, I was going to say, hadn't dropped a game the entire tournament, because of course we saw him 3-0 earlier, but he actually did drop 1 game in pools, and that's it.
Really?
He only dropped 1 game in pools to Precis Maurice, and aside from that, all through top 32 and so far in the top 8, Machete has not lost a single game. So, I mean, that's a pretty strong argument for Machete going into this set versus Tito. But of course, Tito has been doing insane so far on this Lin Fei. We got a Cannon versus Cannon matchup. I think this might actually be the first one. Most of our Cannon sets have been Cannon versus something else. So this is the first, like, actual Ditto, I think, of the day. Or at least this is like the highest level Cannon Ditto that you can expect from this tournament, considering they're both in winners.
And already getting started right now, Machete trying to play a little bit safer just to get things started. Not too sure of Tito's overall playstyle, getting a little bit of damage out with the axe neutral inside, followed by aerials as well. Cannon now finally comes out for Machete. Not quite yet for Tito, who is still holding on to those guitars. And I think it's going to be significantly harder for him to find a lot of big combo pieces here against the Cannon. So the swap to the Cannon here for Lin Fei is, I think, it's going to take him a little bit farther. Not much farther. He is going to get taken out right there by Machete. But that is, I think, the right thing to do is to hold on to that Cannon, especially in the Cannon-Cannon matchup.
And even though I think both of these players are going to favor Cannon primarily, they're both definitely proficient in their side weapons. We've seen Tito pull out some crazy guitar combos, find his kills on them pretty consistently, and Machete always brings the damage on axe. But right now, Machete's Cannon is just too much for Tito to respond to in the neutral game. He cannot get anything going, and Machete just annihilated that stock from Tito in like 20-30 seconds flat. That was insane.
And Tito's usually the one we see exploding in a very, I don't want to say explosive fashion because I'm just be saying the same word twice, but I guess that's the only way I can think of describing it. It is like the one that we've been noticing as the really explosive player with the just the insane Cannon stuff. But now it seems to be Machete this time around, just taking that title right out from under Tito's feet.
Yeah,
and in no small fashion either. But Tito with a long string, a huge damage mix-up onto Machete, and this is just back and forth Cannon play. This is just no cannonballs, unfortunately, with this matchup. But hey,
someone bring out the Sidra. Oh, actually,
only.
I'm very surprised that Machete died there. I didn't think that he was dead, but Tito, nice job bringing it within 1 stock. I think so far the real struggle for Tito has been that Machete's style is so consistent, whereas Tito looks for those long strings where he takes you from, straight white all the way to orange or to red, whereas Machete is just landing hits every once in a while, and it's a slow build. Well, not exactly slow because Zol deals so much damage, but it's hit by hit as opposed to these long strings. And in the end, consistency is a very challenging quality to deal with when you're a player like Tito. And Machete, nice awareness there. So nice. Landing the downlight on Cannon, knowing that he doesn't have to jump in order to hit the nair, and just simply pressing the nair button while he falls, closing out that stock, closing out game 1 with a JV2 for Machete. And so far, it's just looking like nothing can stop this guy. He hasn't. Yeah, he's only lost 1 game, and he 3-0'd his first game in winners, and he's already up 1-0. Tito's gonna have to pull out something massive.
Looking at the damage done as well, he almost doubled the damage done by Tito, which is pretty impressive to say the least, because it shows you how the momentum flowed throughout that match with Machete really just commanding the lead the entire way through, forcing Tito off the map, forcing him into bad situations just through sheer force of will. And we're going to see Tito actually switch up to the Zol as well. Guess going for that salty mirror match mix-up that we kind of talked a little bit about yesterday.
Yeah, Tito hasn't brought out the Zol since the very first game that we saw him play in yesterday, actually. Since then, he's been... that game was a loss, so he's been just rocking the Lin Fei all throughout. You can see, actually, the interesting difference here is that Tito is putting an extra point into the movement speed, taking away 1 from force, whereas Machete is running base stance on Zol, giving himself 9 force, not quite the full 10, but enough to deal so much damage. And you can see Tito is already into the deeper yellow, just from a few hits from Machete, already into the orange now. And Tito is not looking quite as polished on the axe as Machete. Machete only needs 1 more hit to KO Tito since this is Brawlhalla. Alright, I'm a liar. But that was cross map. It's okay. Downlight. Tito just can't find anything yet on this cannon.
Honestly, you know what I think you should do? Just raw throw out a side Cigar cannon and hope that hits.
Yeah, this is looking brutal right now for Tito. He looks so lost versus Machete's consistent play. Machete just doesn't let up for even 1 second. You see, he doesn't even let Tito grab a weapon. He just punishes him straight out of his invincibility frames. Now Tito finds himself stuck on the axe again. I don't think this is what he wants. He doesn't look like he's nearly as proficient on the axe as the Katars or the cannon. And Machete already on the verge of KOing Tito again. Only just a minute into the game. That Cider almost knocking him out. Probably gonna look for a neutral light on this one.
Oh
wow!
I think if he held that, I don't remember if that's one of the ones with the trap sig sits there.
He couldn't.
No,
hold it.
I think it would have been. Yeah, he couldn't have held it.
Yeah,
well.
gravity cancels, man. If he was using it on the stage, there's a chance that it would have hit. But since he gravity canceled it, all Machete had to do was wait it out and then punish him accordingly. A good neutral light is gonna take out Machete's stock. But overall, this game 2 has not been looking nearly as close for Tito as game 1 was. Machete with a nice downlight to ground pound on unarmed. Jeez, these axe combos are just relentless. I'm even tempted to tame Machete has dealt more damage with axe this game than cannon. His axe is looking incredible. He lands the side light, almost looks for the Sair follow-up. The Sair not quite going to close it out. Jeez.
That's that raw damage and force knockback from those aerials out of the axe, or at least just the side air itself. But still, Tito going for, I don't know if that was a mishap or what, that neutral sig not quite in the right position to catch Machete out on the recovery. I mean, if he was going to go for that, maybe position yourself a little bit farther back so you can charge it and get some of that range extension. But still, Machete just absolutely dominating right now, and it is unbelievable. I mean, at this rate, Tito is going to get knocked down into losers, go up against Blue, who has been on fire the entire way through the lower bracket. And if any of the predictions from any of the people that we talked to at the beginning of the day are going to come to fruition, it's going to be Blue and Machete in the grand finals. But we have seen people get proven wrong before, me included. So Tito, hopefully he comes up with a battle plan right now to put the hurt onto Machete and take something back in this set, because he's on his last chance in the winners finals right now.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love to, promote the Tito can always win here, it's never over. It's looking very over. If you're Machete, you are feeling very comfortable right now. He has yet to even really been challenged in this bracket. And Tito is just going full on. We haven't seen him play anything outside of cannon this entire tournament. Even Machete says, what? In reaction to Tito locking in the Hattori. He's as confused as we are. But at this point, I think shaking it up and going for something completely outside of the ballpark of cannon is probably the best that Tito is going to get, given how dire the situation looks. And we're heading over to Shipwreck Falls.
If I'm being honest, though, if you want to really shake the trees, just go for something super unexpected and go for the Cassidy pick. Just no one would expect it. How do you play against Cassidy anyway? Like, no one even knows. See, people haven't seen her in ages.
Tito's starting off pretty strong with this spear. From what we've seen, whereas every North American player tends to have a sword in their back pocket, a lot of EU players seem to have a very solid spear.
For the longest time, it seemed to like it used to
double
be
gauntlet?
Katars, but the Katars haven't been working for Tito. So spear coming up in the back end, I think, is a very nice way in. Woo! This smoke bomb coming now, Tito with the slide charge down, so catching Machete on that wall. And surprisingly enough, it actually worked this time. I think we saw that at least once yesterday where someone threw out like a raw down saying it just wasn't even able to get it. I don't remember who it was that did that, but either way, seeing it successful right now in Tito with a very, very nice spear.
So I will say Tito's spear is looking beautiful so far, but one minor thing is that he hasn't been doing these double D-lights to punish Machete's dodges that he's actually reading really hard. So if he just starts doing that, he would honestly already have Machete done on his second, or down onto his last stock already. And honestly, like, I'm guilty of this, but when you see a player like Tito, where you don't know their name as much, it's not your blue, it's not your Machete, it's not your person who makes top 3 every tournament, and they're playing something along the lines of Cannon, the newer weapon, you can start to think, maybe this person is just a Cannon specialist and they don't really have anything outside of that. But Tito has a Hattori that is looking up there. I mean, he is currently ahead against Machete right now on a character that doesn't even have the cannon in the first place. So clearly Tito is just a very solid player and knows what he's doing in the neutral game. Perhaps he played Hattori even before Cannon was released, since, of course, Cannon only came out within the past year or 2 years, rather. So if Tito was playing the game before then, he would have had to have a main pre-Cannon. A nice side sig onto Machete, solidifying that stock. Machete did some nice comeback damage to that stock, but not quite enough to even up the game yet.
Well, I don't remember. I know I've seen Tito play for quite a while in EU tournaments. I don't remember what his original picks were. Just barely making the wall touch. Wow, very impressive on the recovery timings. I mean, you make one mishap on the jump timings. What? What
just happened? Did Machete disconnect?
That's the only thing I can think of, because he landed the side air and just ran off stage. That's super unfortunate, but unfortunately, online tournaments, sometimes it happens. Either way, they're going to have to go on to the next match, and Machete dropping a game, unfortunately, so not quite going to move on to that grand finals, just spot secure just yet.
And if you're Tito, you say we take those 100 times out of 100. No, he didn't disconnect. I just saw what happened on the replay. He landed the side air after expending all of his recovery options and just barely didn't touch the ledge. So he actually didn't get his options back and he just straight up died. So
that makes sense.
That's great for Tito. That gives him some momentum going into this game 4. No 3-0 for Machete. Machete has now dropped his first game since playing in the pools of this tournament. He made it all the way through top 32 and top 8 thus far without dropping one, and Tito is the first to take a game off him.
Already, Tito getting a lot of damage built up with the spear play, and I think Machete trying to get a little bit around this, but the neutral light, almost going for that neutral sig. He caught Machete on the read there. That would have been a KO super early off the top, which is very rare, very hard to get.
Nice side light from Tito. Machete waking up with a cannon recovery, a super safe move that has a massive hitbox. You can kind of just throw it out when you're off the stage, and a lot of the time it'll hit your opponent if they're going for any sort of follow-up. Tito hitting the spear, so he could potentially close out the stock here. He looks for the dare. Smart play there. Machete was ready for it, though. Nice downlight Sair. Definitely has Machete in the kill percent. Went for the helicopter. No dice, though. Ooh, Machete, nice weight. Couldn't quite find the punish, but he was fully aware that Tito was going to dodge after that side light and almost got the follow-up. A nice catch on the recovery from Machete, landing the axe there, grabbing himself the cannon. One big combo could put Machete so far in the lead right here, given how much damage this cannon can output on Zol.
Already Machete getting a little bit more damage out in the mix, and now carrying him off on the side, making that recovery return back to the stage. We're going to get caught by a side air from Tito's spear, and now a few more hits from Machete are going to give him a little bit more room to work with onto Tito. Although he is already deep in the red, he doesn't have much more room to work with, and that side air is all it's going to take for Tito to find that KO and equalize the stocks. However, it's not quite going to be a great position for Tito to be in because he is already in. Oh, but didn't have another jump, or at least didn't get that jump actuated in time. The side, that little kick to the side is going to give Machete a little bit of time to edge guard Tito, looking for a KO side air. Going to be dodged through. Another one. Third, throwing out the down light. Still not enough to find a KO on Tito, and just surviving every single one of these hits.
A nice side air. Man, Machete is just so consistent with these axe side airs. Even when he misses them, he's never in a position to get punished. So he's using them perfectly to kind of shut off space and find KOs most of the time very efficiently. And there Tito is on potentially his winner's bracket stock here. If he loses this match, he will get sent into the loser's bracket and have to face the monster that is Blue, who has been tearing up the loser's bracket. And I'm sure neither of these players wants to have to fight him earlier than grand finals. Tito getting caught up in the air by Machete's axe. Machete definitely favoring the axe in this matchup, maybe figuring that since Tito has plenty of cannon experience himself, he's not going to be able to catch him as off guard as he might with other players. Tito finding a nice spear side signature though, now bringing it into the last stock. One big combo to put him right back into this game in the running with Machete. Machete with a nice recovery though. One more recovery off the top could do this.
But it's not going to find it just yet. Now playing the grounded game. Machete looking for a little bit of a follow-up there. Finding that down light onto Tito. Tito still trying to survive a little bit longer. In that red zone, though, against Cannon can be a very daunting position to be in. Machete now blocked off a little bit from that weapon spawn, trying to get through, but the double D light into the side air is going to give him a little bit more room to work with here as Tito gets a little even more damage built up. The side stick coming out, not going to do it. It's going to get punished. Machete finding the KO off on the right side, and that is going to do it. 3-1 in the set is all she wrote for that one. Machete moving on to the grand finals now to await the winner of this next match. Blue versus Tito. Who is going to come out on top? We will find out in just a second.
Yeah, Tito got a little overcommittal at the end there, feeling like he had the read on Machete going high on that one, and like he would be able to find it, but instead, Machete just waits out the side signature and lands a perfectly timed side air, as we have seen him land so many times on that axe to close out the set. And we got ourselves getting into a Lin Fei Ditto losers finals, same skin, different color. Tito rocking the diamond border, Blue rocking the no border, starting ourselves off on Shipwreck Falls.
That's one way to do it. Tito, they're running the same skin. At least they have different colors, and it's not similar enough that you can get confused, because otherwise, if they weren't playing with, I mean, of course, they've got their own name there, so you can differentiate yourself all the time. But still, sometimes people do that where they play with like a very similar color scheme. Remember, there's another EU game. Oh my gosh, Tito finding a huge string off stage and just completely taking the hurt to Blue, forcing him into that edge guard situation. There's the ground pound confirmation on the kill. Yes, it is. He can't get back. That is the magic of Shipwreck Falls.
That was pure confidence from Tito. I didn't know if Blue was dead. You didn't know if Blue was dead, but Tito knew he was dead. He just stood there. Yeah. He wasn't even getting himself in position to finish off the edge guard because he just 100% knew. He knows his weapon. He knows the force on ground pound. Blue now coming out with these guitars. Tito still staying on the cannon that has served him so well, getting him into the top 3 of this tournament. Blue finding himself back onto the stage, weapon guarding Tito a little bit, getting himself back on the cannon. Tito is now going to be the one on guitars after this if he even decides to pick up the weapon at all. But right now he's just favoring unarmed. He doesn't even want to pick up the weapon. Oh, it's because it was cannon again. I'm dumb. Tito keeps prepping a cannon for himself beautifully, and that was a great neutral light into weapon throw with the cannon. As we've established before, neutral light on cannon is a perfect setup into weapon throw. The angle that it sends your opponent at is just so strong. And Tito coming out with these guitar combos. Blue can't handle him. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe Blue didn't want to fight Tito in the losers finals, not the other way around.
I mean, sometimes that's just how it works. It switches back and forth with the lead going one way and then the other. But right now, Tito is just doing a fantastic job at holding this set. Oh, no, he didn't get the wall touch. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. He's got 3 stocks.
The left
at that
wall
point, so.
of Shipwreck is cursed right now. First Machete SD'd on it, then Tito SD'd on it. Just don't go near that wall. It's too dangerous.
Right now, Tito, if he finds the KO right here without taking another hit, I'm still going to count it as a JV3, even though I know he took 1 because this play. Oh, they're all okay. Well, now that's gone, but he still finds the KO. The neutral sig right off the top, just bop. Got him. Just the big cannon explosive swing upward to find that KO onto Blue, and that is going to be one heck of a way for us to see this game start. Oh my gosh. Some people were talking about this. I saw it on the Reddit, which I know there's, it's Reddit, but Blue pulling out the Dusk of all things, the original canon legend.
What?
Showed
Orb legend?
Off. I mean, orb, not canon.
Dusk don't have a
Orb.
cannon?
I'm thinking, I don't know. There's so many cannons. I got canon on the brain right now. I didn't mean canon. I meant orb. Orb, of course. Sphere, whatever you want to call it.
And nobody called it sphere. There's no way. I refuse to believe it. But Dusk is actually one of the most underutilized of the Orb Legends, even considering that he was the first to come out. Fate was the main Orb Legend that kind of brought Orb into the limelight. But post-Scythe nerfs, wow, that was a really fast Orb ground pound.
That was clean. That was so clean.
We've been seeing a whole lot of Petra. We've been seeing Fate.
So we've seen Thor as well.
Yeah, we've seen Thor as well, but no Dusks. And I love to see Blue pull it out because I've actually played a fair bit of Dusk myself, and I'm convinced that he might be one of the best Orb Legends because his Orb just feels really nice to play. And considering Blue's prior experience with Spear, it makes perfect sense as to why he would gravitate towards this character.
And he did get a lot of his signatures tunes just recently. So, big smack from Tito to take that first stock from Blue, and that is going to even up the stocks a little bit in there. Tito actually in a pretty decent position to come back right now. One big string is all it's going to really take to get that damage underway to get Blue about the same threshold that Tito's sitting at right now.
Of course, there's always the potential for these cannon combos from Tito, already putting Blue into the orange straight from light yellow. You're never ahead versus Tito. Oh, he went for the ground pound. I'm so surprised that didn't hit. That seemed like it hit.
None of those hit. That was just the...
Oh, a drop down
Someone's got
dare.
to run that frame by frame. That's going to be a KO, though. And Tito up again. 1 stock in the red zone, but still looking pretty good. Blue with the orb is going to have every opportunity here to find that KO. The side lights, the recoveries, the down airs off stage, all of those options very strong, and unarmed stuff too coming out from Tito. But there's the neutral sig popping him off to the top, just like a Snapple cap, and that is going to do it for that stock. Blue with the orb is going to have to put the pressure on Tito right now.
Yeah, I like that Tito has been changing up his options as to how he edge guards with cannon. In the past, we've seen him just throwing out the classic Lin Fei down sigs off the edge, which is typically what you want to do. Oh no, is Blue doing it again?
I don't think he's doing that just yet.
He's not doing it just yet.
I think it was one of those mindset hesitations where you don't want to approach your opponent, but your opponent's thinking the exact same way, so no one knows what to do. But right now, Blue, if the lip wasn't there, that would have been a KO, but that is going to do it right. Oh, that's not going to do it just yet. Tito making his way back into the mix.
Oh, that's going to be it. No? Really? I so thought that was going to kill. That one will do it. He hits another 2 back-to-back downline into nairs, and despite how good the start of that game looked for Blue, Tito, all it took was during the second stock a few classic Tito cannon combos, and he brought it all the way back. And something that I was going to say is that I really like the way that Tito is mixing up how he edge guards on cannon, because how he got Blue on the second stock was that instead of waiting on the ledge, Blue felt confident that Tito wasn't going to approach him off stage, and Tito literally just walked off the stage and instant down aired. And it got Blue.
And that's something that we haven't seen a lot from Tito. So the fact that he is pulling that out is very strong. And I mean, of course, when he's got the cannon as well in the edge guard, of course you're going to start it off in case a Blue or whoever your opponent happens to be starts off with just trying to make their way back on stage instantly. You have that down sig from the cannon on Lin Fei that can just cover that entire zone just in case. But still, great options coming out from Tito to mix things up and throw Blue off his game to the point where he has to switch back to Koji, which was his original pick from yesterday. He only switched to Lin Fei in the lower bracket when he had to qualify in the top 8.
Yeah, and when you're back, I've been saying it a lot today, and to be fair, it hasn't really worked out for many people who have done it. But when your back is against the wall, I think going with comfort is the best possible option, and Koji is definitely the epitome of comfort for Blue. Very few players look as proficient on this bow as Blue does, and I feel like the bow could prove to be a super good pick against Cannon for him, since he might be able to, slow down the pace of the game a little bit and just extinguish this red-hot fire that is Air Tito just popping off with this cannon.
Already, he's getting a lot of damage with Blue turning around. He's got the damage advantage right now, and he can find a little bit of something, a signature move, a haymaker, but now he's got the sword. Maybe he can get a neutral sig on the high recovery option from Air Tito. No, Air Tito making his way back, throwing the side sig out, not going to connect with the weapon throw, forcing on offstage situation, down air. Blue still not finding the KO just yet. There it is. It's no other way for him to get back at that point. The down air just clipping him right off the corner of the stage to find that first KO. And for the first time in the set, Blue actually having an advantage.
Yeah, it really feels like Blue has been on the back foot just fighting the entire time. And it feels like a different kind of advantage than he had briefly last game with Dusk, because it really feels like Air Tito can't get anything started this time. And that's exactly what you want to do. That's what it felt like when Air Tito was playing against Machete. Like, he couldn't actually pull off any of his huge explosive combos that we've known him for during this tournament. And I think Blue is trying to evoke the same sense of tranquility that Machete kind of had during their set in order to slow down Air Tito, which I think is going to be the key for him in this set. And Blue's just looking so good.
Very nice option from Air Tito. The side air just barely clipping Blue as he tried to read the recovery back onto the wall, but the hesitation from Air Tito allowed him to get that side air to get the hit onto Blue to knock him back. And the back throw from that cannon just hitting on the back end to confirm the kill was perfect, even intentional or not, but it was perfect. Everything just lined right up. Now Blue finding that KO off on the left side. Air Tito one stock down. Blue with a significant advantage in this set. The Koji pick going miles for him right now. The bow, especially with the extended range, able to get contact damage from much farther out than Cannon can really deal with. But fantastic stuff coming out from both of these players right now.
Tito, once again, trying to get some Cannon combos started, but Blue doing a good job of defensively getting himself out of them, responding with a huge bow combo, adding a lot of damage onto Air Tito. These side airs are doing wonders for him.
Oh my gosh!
Ground pound. Jeez. Blue. The bow is looking like the potential answer to Air Tito's cannon right now, as these Sares are just doing so much work for him. You know, Cannon historically is known as a very hard weapon to edge guard in this game, but these bow siders might be the solution for Blue. And he wasn't just doing them regularly. He was actually waiting for Tito to side air into the wall so that he touched, and then responding by side airing into the wall. But
for the wall bounce, and then a little extra positioning, dispositioning off on the right side or the left side, whichever side he happens to be on. But it was always a fantastic option. And now going to this side, neither one of these players are going to be able to utilize that wall space quite in the same way because there's so little of it. And they're going to have to shift their, not ideologies, but their mindset. When it comes to those edge guards moving on. Air Tito with a big hit. Ground pound. That's it. That's the confirmed kill. And just 20 seconds into the match, Air Tito with an explosive start, blowing up in Blue's face. Not much more to say about that than wow.
Yeah, Air Tito is saying, you know what? You gave me a tough time on the ledge, so let's just shrink the ledge by about 50%. And then let's see how you do on the ledge. Air Tito taking a huge advantage of Blue's great ability to get back onto the stage, or rather taking advantage of how good he is at getting back onto the stage by just getting rid of the ledge to give him a tighter window that he can punish Blue for.
Blue making his approach to weapon throw, just a little bit of a disruption as Air Tito tries to make the approach with the side sig, and the recovery off the top not going to be enough to find the KO, but the neutral sig thrown out there, trying to catch Air Tito off the top, and Tito still just playing the unarmed game, getting a little bit more damage off, and I don't think Blue was quite expecting it. He might shift his playstyle now, to adjust for the unarmed play. But so far, Tito doing a fantastic. Oh my gosh! What?
Gosh.
What?
I can't believe he had that hard of a read on Blue's movement that he just dropped off the stage and instantly ground pounded. At this point, we've seen him do it before, but this is going to have to be a major comeback for Blue, or else he's going to be eliminated, and the grand finals is going to end up being the run back of winners finals of Tito versus Machete. Tito is definitely trying to earn his place, solidifying himself in the top 2 of this tournament, and is one of EU's greatest threats right now.
By far, with the approaching, with just the sheer pressure, Blue can't even find a comfortable approach onto Tito right now because he continuously finds hits left and right. That was his first stock. Almost 2 minutes into the game, finally getting taken down, and Tito.
Oh,
did he just give up?
No!
Was that a DC or did he give up? I don't understand.
It's hard to tell. Blue has left.
Oh no!
I don't. It seems more like
was
he
that
DC'd.
was that the end too? There's no way that was
That
the
is
last game.
The absolute saddest way for that set to end. Whether he gave up or whether he DC'd, Tito ended up taking it. Unfortunate. Maybe he just wanted to take the stock to avoid this three stock, and past that point, Blue was done. It's hard to tell. That was a pretty crushing game 4, I will say. And, I mean, Machete is probably out here like, I'll take that. I already beat Tito once. Bring him back up into the grand finals. I'll take him again.
Oh man, I don't know what. It's really hard to say what happened there because Tito's even in the chat saying that there was no in-game DC, so there was no way for him to know if he gotten kicked out of the game. But apparently, we're seeing connection to game server. That's just really unfortunate. It happens. I guess I don't know. The match counts for sure. So that is the way the cookie crumbles, and that's just one of the things that can happen in an online game, unfortunately. But oh man, that's one of the worst ways to go. Yeah,
it really sucks for Blue. I mean, obviously the comeback is always possible, and I think if there's any player to do it, you could argue that Blue would be one of the people who is in the best position to kind of make that comeback. But I mean, I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way that online tournaments go. And Blue has attended plenty of LANs himself, whereas Tito and Machete less so, and they're finally getting their time to shine on online. Tito this time not even bothering with the cannon since it worked so poorly for him in the winners finals, just going straight with the Hattori. I like the confidence. And here we go into the grand finals. The run back, Tito versus Machete.
He's going back to the Hattori, of course, after he had the most success with the spear against Machete's Zol cannon. So we're going to have to see how it fares this time around in that grand final. Whether or not Machete did any kind of hand warmers to keep himself fresh, but Tito just getting a lot of damage right off the bat with the sword pickup. Machete still not finding anything too big. It might cost him unless he finds one. Oh, he actually managed to pick up the cannon from that high up. There we go. We see a big string coming out, big damage, and another one almost goes into that neutral sig, but not quite in time to get the connection with the side air into a weapon throw, confirming that KO to start this off.
I think the difference in this matchup is definitely going to be made more in Machete's axe than in his cannon. We know for sure that he's going to be able to find that good damage on cannon. Oh, Tito actually messing up the weapon starve a little bit there and letting Machete get the weapon on spawn. But Machete's axe has been where the real legwork has been coming in. He very rarely gets comboed by Tito when he's on this axe, it feels like.
Ooh, interesting option there from Tito as well, trying to anti-edge guard before Machete even had a chance to touch the stage. And a lot of great movement coming out as well, but the follow-ups from Machete are just getting so much more damage onto Tito that he has to play very carefully now. Either way that you cut it, Tito's movements, even if he gets 4 attacks off in a row, one single hit from Zol can just completely reverse the situation, especially from this axe that can deal so much damage in a single hit, paired with the 9 or the 8 to 10 attack. I actually missed. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm pretty sure he's playing 9. Oh, almost the dare closing it out, but Tito manages to make it back. Machete does as well. A dangerous situation for both players, but they both were kind of content with just returning to the stage and playing it out. That neutral light, since it is so grounded and across the stage, not going to end the stock, but Actually, just a weapon throw by Machete, and he even picked his cannon right back up, saying he's not done with it yet. He wants to use the same cannon that he just killed him with to continue to apply more damage onto Air Tito. And as he throws it, he loses it, and Air Tito with the downlight stare has Machete off stage. Goes for the gravity cancel neutral strike, just missing, barely. Machete still alive. A nice gravity cancel, downlight into recovery from Air Tito. And this game is basically a tie game, as there's barely any damage on Air Tito. Ooh, the side air.
A lot of damage coming out from Machete right now, looking for that downlight combo starter, but it's going to be Machete turning things around. Big damage, big damage, and he goes for an even bigger read, going for the side stick, but it is going to be a punish. A minor punish, but it's still, a punish is still just that. And now Machete trying to make his way back into the middle of the stage, get that ground coverage, and the weapon throw not going to continue that string any farther as they clash in the middle. Air Tito with a little bit more approach options, going to get stuffed out by the dash, turn around, a neutral light, and the recovery off the top, not going to be enough to find the KO. Side air, though, possibly, maybe.
That's it.
It's gonna do it.
Air Tito just didn't quite have the options to get back. Maybe if he had saved his dodge all the way, then he would have been able to, but he was forced to burn his dodge by Machete with that weapon throw. Smart play. Even under the circumstance that Air Tito did still have a jump, since Machete burned his dodge there, he would have just been able to hit an unarmed down air or an unarmed ground pound to end Air Tito's stock. So well done by Machete. They're running it right back, this time going to Miami Dome with the light up ramen sign and the banging music.
Tito getting game number 2 started off right now. This is going to be Machete trying to get a little bit of damage in, starting off with the axe. His bread and butter start off, the damage buildup and finisher that he's been using for quite a bit. Wow!
Machete,
explosive read going
seconds.
right, extremely flat, it's extremely fast. And Machete just getting right into the mix, getting that damage off, finishing it off with that ground pound, and Air Tito trying to find his own follow-up. Not a smart option to come back the stage and kind of reset. You don't want to overextend too hard, because if Machete was able to find one turnaround option there off an overextension off stage, that could have been another KO in less than another 20 seconds.
Now, for a long time, Axe players have said this weapon is a little underpowered. You know, this weapon isn't the most tournament viable, but maybe these recent buffs are just what Axe needed to bring it into the limelight. Because Machete, he's playing the Zol. People always associate Zol with that strong, high-force cannon. But right now, he's making even more plays on the Axe than he is on the cannon.
Machete trying to make his way back to stage, finding an option to get back is not terribly easy against Air Tito's spear, especially with the range advantage that it does give him in opposition to this cannon that Machete has right now. Machete looking for some of the starter hits out, but he's going to swap over to that axe, give him a little bit more damage on those horizontal hits, and this should be something. Oh, goes for the A-drop, doesn't manage to find the connection with the weapon throw, saves him on the recovery back to stage, and it gives him a double down light, but no follow-up on the side light, side here. That is really unfortunate.
Yeah, Air Tito just doesn't seem to be as comfortable on the input of the double downlight side air. He's gotten the double downlight a few times, though, but he's only actually hit the follow-up side air about half of the time. Definitely something that if he ends up looking back at these VODs, he's going to say, you know what, this is something that I need to practice. But Machete landing yet another axe side air. The amount of stocks that he's closed out with that move are ridiculous. He is so consistent with it, and now he's trying his best to weapon guard Air Tito. But against Machete's best interest, Air Tito is able to grab the weapon, but he did burn his dodge. Now Machete is punishing hard.
Oh, lots of damage coming out from Machete, but the gravity cancel wake up side sig from Air Tito is going to take him right out of the hit. Machete going for that grounded neutral light, just going to get over spaced from that gravity cancel, positioning himself right above the hitbox. So that was a very smart move from Air Tito to get around that. And Machete now trying to get a little bit more damage, trying to get the finisher, the red zone positioning on Air Tito. The weapon throw is going to do it, and that is the finisher onto Air Tito. Game number 2 going the way of Machete again. Just even more domination from Machete in this set.
Yeah, Machete is only one game away from solidifying himself as the strongest player in this tournament. He has been looking fantastic. He has only dropped 2 total games over the course of this entire bracket, 1 to Air Tito in the winners finals and 1 back in pools. Every other player he has made quick work of, all with his Zol. He hasn't ever felt the need to swap off of this pick, and I can see why. He is just looking so good, so polished on both weapons on this character. And the craziest part is that he's only level 23 on Zol. Every single legend that Tito has played has a higher level than Machete's Zol. Speaking of which, he is now bringing out the Princess Bubblegum.
Oh my gosh, the Princess Bubblegum. I don't think I've seen a Princess Bubblegum in turn before. I think I've seen a Jake and maybe a Finn. But I think we saw at least one Finn or one Jake at
CEO. There was a Finn and the Jake, I think. Yeah. But I have not seen PB and Tourney.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, Boomy played Jake in CEO winners finals of doubles, and Noel has actually played a fair bit of Finn in like multiple tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the only one who's even talked about playing Princess Bubblegum is maybe Kosalix and Cody Travis, and even yet I haven't seen it in practice. And already Tito is opening up strong with these guns, showcasing yet another weapon that he is good at. Tito has just got everything.
I mean, this isn't just like getting some hits and backing off and forcing neutral hits. I mean, this was like combos and strings with blasters, which can take quite a bit of practice because they have very particular hitboxes. And now going with the lance as well, something that we haven't seen him utilize at all in any period in this tournament. This is such an interesting pick. I gotta wonder what kind of. I mean, I don't even have words for this. It's so unusual and out of left field.
Yeah, I think after losing so many straight games to Machete, he just felt like he had to take something out of left field, like you said, in order to have any chance.
Whoa.
And right now, it is just not working at all for him. Machete says, I don't care what you're playing. It doesn't matter if you're playing your main, if you're playing a legend you've never played before. It literally just nothing matters to Machete because he is already about to go up. I was going to say 2 stocks, but Tito hit a nice combo.
He literally went up. You said he was going to go up, and he did it. So, I mean, honestly, like, you're not wrong. Machete's still finding the KO off on the right side as he finds that haymaker. Fresh stocks, but it's going to be 1 to 2. And Tito, on his tournament stock, he's got to be very careful, and he's got to play this just right. He's got the Princess Bubblegum, though. He had some really good stuff on blasters, although Machete, he can turn it around. Oh, no! Does he still have the recovery? He does. Both players do. They're going to make it back to stage, but Machete still has the pressure plays going on right now. This is a very dangerous situation for the both of them. Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, that was so close. Why did he go for the ground pound in that situation? I got to wonder if that was intentional or not. Oh, my gosh.
Tito looks like he's never played Lance before.
This is not good. Throwing out the downswings, trying to find something here with the blasters. Oh, geez, this is not kosher at all.
Oh, Machete looking for the ground pound. All he needed was one more hit, and there it is. Machete with a 3-0, winning the Super Summer Slayem EU tournament in commanding fashion, defeating Tito in back-to-back sets in winners finals and grand finals, only ever dropping 2 games in the entire tournament. Machete looking like a massive threat on this Zol right now, and a great effort, a great placement from Tito. Second for him, placing above a ton of notable players. He's got to be happy about it, regardless of the fact that, you know, he was so close to winning. It always sucks to not be able to actually take the victory in the tournament, but second is pretty darn good.
So that is, I think, going to do it for the Super Summer Slayem EU 1v1. Remember, so like he said, like Steve just said just now, Machete is your Super Summer Slayem EU 1v1 grand champion here today, and he is going to be taking that home with pride, of course, having put down one of the most insane runs throughout any kind of EU tournament we've seen this year. So congrats to him, claps all around.
Yeah. Great
and
play.
that's what a way to finish that tournament off, especially against I gotta give props to Tito too for bringing out the first Brax I've seen in a tournament in years. So that's also kind of fun to see. Either way, that is about gonna do it for today. I am You Got Froned.
I'm Stevenator. Find me on Twitter at Stevenator546.
And we are signing off. See you next time.